with Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck.
Little by little, more and more, you're going to have a basketball game in the pit tomorrow. JJ, you're going to be sitting courtside in the pit? Did they let you in?
Hopefully, things are in the process of figuring that out.
Oh, well, I mean, there's a phone line, or there's a line. There's not even a phone line anymore. Baseball last weekend, football's practicing. Aggies had to play in El Paso yesterday because, well, their county is red. But I mean, in Texas, of course, it's not slowly. We flip a switch and boom, they're back to completeness. But little by little, we're going to have things. Isotope schedule been pushed back till May. You're starting to get a look at what an isotope or what a United schedule looks like, and little by little, we feel like we're moving, and maybe even APS has a shot. What's good? It's the opening drive and Merry Wednesday to you, Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. What's going on, man? Good day yesterday?
Day was quite all right. How are you, sir?
I'm all right. Put in some miles and didn't even know what you guys were doing yesterday. And I got a text from your buddy Van. Said he sat in my stead or your stead, and however it is. And sounds like you guys had a good show.
Yeah, not bad. It's list season. That movement continues, and everything else that's going on. You say little by little. In terms of, all right, here we go. Are we going to see something with APS now? What is the Los Lunas School District up to these days? Just trying to get something in for the kids and focusing on finishing up these other seasons.
Los Lunas School District voted 4-1 last night to approve a hybrid learning. So they look like they're going back. Now they're going to be behind everybody because everybody else is starting. And as far as what's going to be an option for football and what's going to be available for them for cross country, certainly this fall sports is going to be very limited. It might just be one meet. It might just be one big APS meet or whatever it is. But at least there's a path towards something for them, and that's kind of where we are with that. APS put a modified their modified in-learning or in-person learning plan to the Public Education Board, Public Education Department. And Scott Elder, the interim superintendent at APS, said that he's confident that it's going to be approved. And if so, then right around March 22nd is when they could practice. 2 weeks after that, they can start with competition. So that puts you into April. Typically 1 month left in the school year. So there's not a lot of time left, but if there's something, there's something. JJ, you know how I feel about this. I feel that they're getting robbed. The kids are. And it's something better than nothing. It certainly is. But now it almost feels like it's going to be, well, see, at least you got to play. Here, you got the crust of the toast. You didn't get a whole piece of bread, but at least you got to play. And I don't know, man. I feel for these kids. I just do. And they're caught in the middle of this whatever game's being played by the adults, and I feel for them, and I hope they get to play at some point.
Man, they're caught in the middle of this back and forth situation that we've discussed, and the hybrid model, we've wondered all along, why was that partnered with doing athletics or other things outside of school in this situation, and it has really condensed the calendar even more so. A tough situation she's laid out for a lot of these schools. And at this point in time, I'm with you in how some might say it, but at least there's some games. It's not a full season, which is unfortunate, which they should have figured out a way to make that happen this spring, but at least that carrot's not being pulled away again for some of these kids. At least you're going to be able to see them on the field, whether soccer, football, etc., join the other student athletes in high school.
I hope so. I mean, the carrot's out there again. PED doesn't approve this, and it will be pulled away again. PED still has to approve this, and if it's not, then they're gonna tug it away again. But good for the kids in Los Lunas. So we got a lot to do. We got Lobel basketball tonight. Lobel men are in Fort Collins. They will play at 6 o'clock over on News Radio KKOB. The game can be seen on the Mountain West Network online. 6 o'clock start, 5:30 pregame in Paul Weir's final regular season game as the head coach at the University of New Mexico. And I know the names continue to come in and out. And Paul released I think it's certainly more than a statement yesterday, JJ. It was a letter in large respects to Lobo supporters, to fans, to people around, and in typical Paul, I thought it was classy. I thought it was cerebral. I thought it was good. I think Paul's getting around to talking to people. I sent Paul a text on the day it went down, and he got back to me. Got around to it yesterday, which I'm not offended by that at all. I'm glad that he got it. But just wishing him well, and as you read through it, and I've been talking to some people, and I don't know that who knows what Paul's going to do. I wonder if Paul really knows. But I do get a feeling, that Paul's going to explore something outside of basketball. I don't know if that means he's never going to get back into basketball, and you never say never. Paul was a good basketball coach for a lot of years. That's how he got this job. Paul has by almost every account, had good relationships with the majority of his players. Paul has helped these players grow. He's been able to find talent. He's been a valuable member of Marvin Menzies' staff for a lot of years. I think Paul, if Paul wants to continue in basketball, he can. I have no idea what Paul wants to do. I'm not going to pretend to get into Paul's head. All I know is Paul can do many, many other things and be successful, and I know he will be.
Yeah, it was not surprising to see, Paul Weir release pretty much a farewell letter to everyone and talk about his time at the University of Mexico, that he's grateful for the opportunity that he's had to coach and be a head coach over these last years at New Mexico State and New Mexico. And I'm with you. It's Paul Weir is someone that it kind of has the feeling of, hey, he'd be, when we talk about NFL coaches, really good coordinator, but not quite the head coach. And it kind of feels like he could be in that mold of where, yeah, you're right. He's a valuable coach to someone's staff. Is he ever going to get an opportunity to be a head coach? Yeah, and he probably might not quite be at this level in Division I basketball. But it's one that anytime you end something, you take a step back. Some people are ready to jump at it, get right back into it. And for Paul, we'll see where this offseason takes him. But I do think it's a good thing. And this, other than just not winning basketball games, this is a situation that you don't really see. With when a head coach is fired, a lot of times it's not ending badly, as we always talk about. People like Paul Weir, I think they wanted him to succeed. It just didn't work out. And then when the opportunity arose and some people stepped forward to help with that buyout, UNM felt like now is the time to make the move.
Well, okay. I was thinking about this, right? I spent a lot of time behind the wheel the last couple of days. When Noodles left, people were what we're hearing on the show, people just didn't like him. It got personal, right? When Steve left, it got personal because of the way he left. People were pissed. Before that, was it Richie? Who was before? It was Richie, right? Was it?
Yeah.
People were like, and certainly when Fraschilla left. This one, there's very few people who are saying, say I don't like the guy. I don't like the guy. They say I don't like the coach. A lot of people say I don't like the coach, but there's very few. The one line in his release yesterday that jumped off the page to me that resonated where he said, "I'm finally coming home," and he said, "Last and most important to my family, both here and afar, I'm finally coming home." There's something about getting out of your bubble. He's been doing this for 17 years. JJ, when I got out of television, and that lifestyle, there's a realization, damn, there's a whole world out there, right? When you're in coaching, that's the life you know. I had a good conversation yesterday with a really good friend of mine who's recently gotten out of coaching. He's been in basketball his whole life, and he loves it. He loves being home at night with his kids. He loves the life that he loved coaching too. Don't get me wrong; he loved basketball, but he loves this fact that he's got young kids and he's there with them. That he's there with his wife at night. That he can do what he needs to do when he wants to do it. And there's a freedom to it. But when you get in a bubble, whatever it is you do, whether it's radio or television or coaching or whatever your world is, you kind of get entrenched in this, and you don't think this is all you can do, but that's your life. And I remember when I got out of TV and realized, damn, dude, there's a life out there. You mean I'm home at night, or I get holidays off sometimes, or it was different. And I think Paul's going to realize there's a lot he can do. He's incredibly bright, obviously highly educated. He's likable, and I think there's going to be a lot of good things for Paul, whether he wants to stay in basketball, and if he does, there's going to be opportunities. If he wants to get out, he's going to be able to do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, I think that is definitely a big thing, too, as how consuming coaching is, how all in you have to be, the hours invested, the grind, the recruiting, the player development, making sure everyone's on the same page. And I'm sure this past year brought that to light for a lot of coaches when we've talked to plenty of head coaches doing things differently in the Zoom era, in terms of less time with your student athletes. Are there things that moving forward maybe their schedules evolve, but ultimately it's 24/7 365. You're consumed, and even when you're at home with your family, you never know what that next buzz on your phone is going to bring. Is it, oh no, is something wrong with my players? Do I have to address a program issue? So absolutely can understand that, where it is a passion but a sense of, okay, now let's reset, see what's next.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a good thing. And he's got time, right? He got paid this year. He got paid last year. He's getting paid the next 2 years. He's got time to figure out what it is he wants to do, and maybe it'll be a number of things. And in a large respect, I'm excited for Paul. He's 41 years old, so he's a young man with some means now. To set his family in a position. I'm not telling you that's generational wealth that he's earned, but he's earned good money, and Paul's a bright man, and I'm excited for him for what that means. And will he be part of this community? I don't know. It's going to be up to Paul and Alma and what they want to do. But you're right, JJ. It's different this time because everybody's like, damn, I like him, but I don't like the coach. And that's really where a lot of this has been. 505-246-0610. We got a ton to do. Not that I love this story, but it's taken a little bit of a turn. We're going to have to talk about Dak today and where that thing's going. We've got women's basketball to get into. Big upsets in college basketball last night that are going to affect your bracket. We got a ton to do. It's the opening drive. If you want to get in, 505-246-0610. On 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
You've heard Rich Eisen on the radio and seen him on TV.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy. And it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
They're going to hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovis.
That replay,
I got you.
Measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. It's into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
Throw it, looking, here comes the rush, step it up. Javier now running around, being chased, looks across, throws it up, man's wide open. Ball is caught, touchdown. Siembieda. Chavez dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone, touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set, he's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And off, great hit, he bounces off, outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say.
Night. And for those of you who were counting on 4 teams in the NCAA tournament, you may want to tap the brakes. I think at this point, Mountain West may be lucky to get in 3. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. J. Pull, and is that Alden's arm, I see? Yes, Alden on the TV side of Pro V Networks, and Mike is the producer on the radio side. JJ, Boise State loses at home, 67-64. Here's those makeup games. Why are we playing these makeup games? They can only hurt. That sure as hell hurt Boise State, and probably drop them into the first group out, losing at home to Fresno State last night.
Yes, some of the bracket updates last night. Boise State indeed joining Utah State in that first 4 out category. Fresno State gets a go-ahead 3-point shot from Hill in the final 60 seconds. You look at it, Fresno State was +9 at the 3-point line, had a 15-9 advantage, points off turnovers. Got to win these games and stop complaining. Colorado State's been doing a whole lot of complaining this week. Are you focused? Are you ready to beat the Lobos tonight? Because guess what? The only person to blame in this is Boise State, is Colorado State, if they lose these games.
Colorado State has to play New Mexico tonight and then go play Reno in 2 nights. Tonight, San Diego State plays at UNLV at the Thomas and Mack Center. This is, like, could they lose that game? They could. San Diego State's an 8.5-point favorite. Colorado State's an 18-point favorite. Now, look, this could be a game where these kids rally around Coach Weir, right? This is not completely out of the realm of possibility, although it's not probable that New Mexico wins this game. But if you're Colorado State, if you're Boise State, I think San Diego State's playing the best of those 3, right? UNLV is the best team out of UNLV, Fresno State, and New Mexico. And then Colorado State's got to go play Nevada, who absolutely can beat them. Absolutely can beat them. But if you're telling me you're an NCAA tournament team and you can't beat teams that are absolutely not NCAA tournament teams, then maybe you're not an NCAA tournament team.
Yes, maybe it is that simple. Like, stop complaining. You knew what this week was about. Is it a different challenge? Sure, but it was called a buffer week to reschedule games for a reason. I know, Jeff, you've been on this. Like, what's the point? Like, why y'all complaining when you knew at the end of the year you were going to have to make up some games? And guess what? In the case of San Diego State, Colorado State playing for a regular season conference title, Lobos pulled out of games. And I think the Mountain West made the right decision, even though it took them a little while to get there. But San Diego State was like, this wasn't a COVID-related issue. They just didn't feel ready to show up and play us. And I think that was the right thing for the Mountain West to do ultimately. And if you're Colorado State, they've been bitter. Joe Parker's been talking about it in this week that they have in their makeup games. Well, go beat these teams, go into the Mountain West tournament, and then go make a statement there. Because all you can do is win at basketball games. Because guess what? You can end up like Boise State, who the reaction to that game last night felt like their season ended. And it ain't over, but it felt like that for Boise State, especially you watch some of the reaction from the fans and then the way the media was covering that game.
So I didn't see the fan reaction afterwards. So they're not mad that they lost the game. They're mad at Craig Thompson and the league?
No, they're mad that they lost the game. No, Colorado State's the one that's been mad at the league. And
what was how many games did they play, dude? They've played how many games? I mean, it feels like their games, they were, and football too, by the way, they were the ones who just got lost and lost. They lost the New Mexico series. I'm trying to find their record. You got it? Here they are. They're 13-3, 16-4. So they played 16 games. So look, I just, you and I both, when the New Mexico series got canceled with Colorado State, you and I were both in agreement that this is different. And I told you, I listened to our afternoon show and Carlisle saying, somebody's got to explain to me why. Well, I don't even think it's that difficult. Every other cancellation, postponement, non-playing of series and games in this league was because there were positive tests within a team's traveling party or controlled party, and it fell within the rules of canceling games, right? Everything that was preset. If this happens and this happens and this happens, all that went down. In the case of New Mexico, there were no positives. There were, but Jeff, now it did say if you fall below 6 on the scholarship limit, that's part of the protocol. But did they? They fell below 6 because kids didn't want to play, and the coach wanted to give them a mental health week. They opted out as opposed to had COVID, and so that was their option. And I'm not telling you it was wrong or right for New Mexico. That's what they had to do for their well-being, and that's fine. But that was very different. So if you can't see why that was different than every other one, I don't know how to paint the picture any better. But I think where the problem comes, JJ, is they waited 4 weeks or 3 weeks to do it, as opposed to make that decision then. If they'd have made that decision then, I think people would have said, yeah, that's probably the right decision.
And it's one that at the time, you had to realize there's only so many games you can fit into a week. Like, you're not playing 5-6 games. You can get 4 in this stretch. We've seen it with some teams that are playing it, but you weren't going to be able to play that many more, so that decision should have been made earlier by the Mountain West, going, all right, there's going to be a couple more games overall that we're going to have to put on the schedule here. And given the fact that, as we just laid out and have talked about, this was not a COVID-related issue, they could have made that decision sooner. But when they made it, you have to deal with it. You have to play these games. If you're Colorado State, you're Boise State, you have to finish the season so you don't end up in this situation looking, oh, woe is me. No, you have the opportunity. You're the better basketball team. Go finish the season.
And go win the games. With all due respect, and again, I can't say it enough, you can't say it enough. That's what this week was for. That's why there were no games scheduled this week. That's why this was decided whenever they all sat down and made their decisions, that there was going to be that week before the tournament, and we're making up games. We're fulfilling our inventory for television because you all like the money. You all want that money. They got to get their inventory. They've got to have their games so you get your money. And I don't know what to tell you at this point. Don't go out and lose to Fresno State, who was 8-10 in conference. If you're telling me you're an NCAA tournament team, then don't go out and lose. Do you know Boise State's 14-6 right now? Mm-hmm. Weren't they sitting there undefeated when they were playing nobody? And everybody's telling me they're the best team in the league. And they played tight games with San Diego State. You were saying the second, but I mean, I was listening to people say, well, they're the best.
At times, definitely, but they've come crashing back down to earth. And You've brought it up. We've looked at it. That back into the schedule was going to be the reality check for Boise State, and it has been.
All right, so it's Boise State, an NCAA tournament team. In your mind, I mean, let me ask you this, because I think you're going to tell me they're a bubble team, and I think you're right. In your mind, one of them I think is going to get in. I think Colorado State's going to get in. So Utah State or Boise State, which one do you think gets in? And which one should get in?
I think the team that it will be outside of winning the automatic bid.
Right, outside of winning the automatic bid.
Furthest in the Mountain West tournament.
Okay, so as it sits now, Utah State, it's going to mix up because Utah State's still got some games left. And but as it sits right now, I'm going to just take the top. You know, when you get to semifinal, if it's chalk, now Nevada could in the 4-5 game get Boise State. They could, right? They could, but right now, Boise State has San Diego State in the semifinal on Friday. Now, if they get through San Diego State, that's a great quad one win for them, and it would launch them, and it would put them in the championship game, and it would probably get them over the hump. Utah State's got Colorado State. My gut, well, just watching, and I haven't seen any Colorado State lately at all. I haven't seen any of it. My gut tells me Utah State's going to peak down the stretch. Let me see what Nico Medved and this group do down the stretch, because I've watched Utah State teams and Craig Smith teams get hot at tournament time. My gut tells me if you had to play Utah State, Colorado State in a tournament, I would take Utah State to get to the championship game.
In this scenario that we're painting out, I think I would be leaning Utah State as well, especially seeing what they did in Nevada over the weekend. Beat them pretty handily.
Yeah, they're playing better
in those contests. And if we're talking about how important it is going to be to get a couple of those extra wins under your belt on your way to the Mountain West tournament, I think being opposite San Diego State, I think Utah State has a better chance to beat Colorado State than Boise does beating San Diego State.
Yeah, I do too. And I think Utah State's playing better. Look, I think Boise State's got the best player. Derek Olsen is fantastic. He's my player of the year in the league. Like he's great. But I think Utah State's playing better. Like I said, I don't know what Colorado State's doing. I mean, I don't even know when they play. It's like it feels like everything's not. So I'll watch them closely tonight. I don't know what's going to tell me. Thursday will tell me a lot more about Colorado State. But after, I think San Diego State's the best team in the league. After that, I still think when it all comes down to it, I think Utah State's the next best team. But I want to see what Colorado State does, because the other three of them are kind of the same thing. They got, this is really good. They got strengths and weaknesses. Somebody's going to play themselves out, and it might be two of them.
Yeah, I think Boise State should be firmly the second best team, but last night crashed that window for them, and now they're trying to pick up the pieces.
But that's the worst loss of any of them have, right? That's the worst loss of any of the top four teams in the league. And it came at a horrible time. 505-246-0610. Lobos will go at Colorado State tonight. You can get in on that, on the coach stuff as well. But I want your thoughts on the league, because here we were sitting talking honestly, like right now, I think they're going to be lucky at 3. I really do. But we can get into that at 505-246-0610.
And one thing that you don't have to be lucky about, you can make the decision, is with your fitness. If you're looking to challenge yourself to get to the next level or kickstart something that might have been missing over the last year, well, let me introduce you to F45 training. F45 training is a mix of circuit and high-intensity training in 45-minute bursts. That's what I love about the classes. There's no wasted time. You can check them out at f45training.com or download the F45 app to take a look at the schedule, see what classes work for you. And guess what? They're open 7 days a week. And I do love these Sunday morning classes because it can help you make up for a busy week. If you might have missed something, get there early Sunday morning, finish your weekend off right. You can sign up for a 7-day free trial as well to see if you're going to enjoy it. And let me tell you, once you're in, you're going to be hooked, because it's for everyone, all fitness levels, certified trainers there to help you every step of the way. I love the monitor layout as well. It shows the circuit, it shows the exercises, keeps you focused, and pushes you towards that finish line. They're located at 5920 Holly Northeast, so great access right there, Paseo and I-25. And of course, still COVID-safe practices, so you're not going to feel overwhelmed when you go to the gym. And guess what? It ain't that bad working out in a mask, doing a high-intensity workout. And the thing with downloading the app, booking your classes is to manage class sizes, but it is going to be best for you for your best workout. Check them out at f45training.com or download the F45 app. Team training, life-changing. I'll see you at F45.
It's his second field goal. He's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off Romero. A 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos. Step back. High arcing. Twine!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time. Two-hand hammer.
Look at this, they're going to score again. Look at this.
Up top. Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak. Ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the 3 and he buries it.
Gonna be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen. Against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition, ahead to hit on. Hit on for the two-hand hammer.
That's to go. They've got a shot.
So you have the big upset of the Mountain West yesterday. Boise State losing to Fresno State. You have the potential for more Colorado State, New Mexico, and then UNLV, San Diego State. I got a bad feeling about San Diego State tonight, by the way. I do. But that doesn't knock them out. I think San Diego State is – don't you think San Diego State is securely in after the sweep over Boise last weekend? I think San Diego State is securely in, ranked 19th in the country. I know rankings don't mean anything. I remember back when I was doing TV – and the Lobos would be ranked like right around 19th, but they'd get like a 10 seed and people would lose their mind. I don't know, well, 10, 4, that should make them a 5 seed, right? It doesn't go by rankings. Back in the day when we used to worry about things like rankings around here. But do you believe San Diego State's firmly in?
San Diego State is on secure ground. They're one of the few teams that actually has something on their non-conference resume
UCLA and
to
Arizona
boost
State.
the overall metrics that establish them as firmly in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I can see them getting beat tonight. I mean, I hope they don't, but I could certainly see that happening tonight in this week. Now, I haven't heard a lot coming out of them, a lot of the whining. I heard J.D. Wicker about a week and a half ago, their athletic director say something. But I haven't heard anything coming out of Brian Dutcher, although I've been kind of out of it for the last day. So Colorado State's been whining about this, and it's going to be interesting to see how they play tonight. Have you heard anything from San Diego State?
No. For the most part, it's been business as usual.
Yeah.
It's just really been Colorado State that feels slighted by the Mountain West decision with the San Diego State-New Mexico games.
Yeah.
But here we are. You got to go out there and handle your business.
Well, look, and I do believe Nevada's going to beat Colorado State on Thursday and make that whole thing moot.
Yep. There you go. And then
are you with me on that?
Because San Diego State clinches if they win tonight, correct?
Well, yes, but they clinch because of the 2 additional wins, right? If they win and Colorado State wins both games, then it's going to be the 2 additional forfeiture wins that make them the number 1 seed. So yes. But I think that if Nevada's going to beat Colorado State on Thursday. I just do, and so I think that's going to make it moot. That they wouldn't have needed. They'd won by 1 percentage without those 2 wins. The other big college basketball story last night, Illinois not just beat Michigan but pummeled Michigan 76-53. So there's a couple of teams that I remember when Jerry Palm asked us, and he'll be with us tomorrow. A few weeks ago, or you asked Jerry, a couple teams under the radar, and I gave you Alabama, right? And the other one to me, it was Illinois, and you said they're not really under the radar. Look where they are in the rankings, in the net and everything else. And they might not be under the radar to the college basketball experts, but I think to people who are just casually or just starting to scour it in March, Illinois might be one of those under the radar teams, and they'll be under the radar no more. They have one of the 3 best players in college basketball. You think that's pushing it?
No, I think Ayo Dosunmu is fantastic, and guess what?
I think he's going to be 3rd on my list, but go ahead.
He did not play yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
He has not played the last few games,
right,
which makes what happened yesterday insane.
Right, I was going there. But so, yes, they have one of the 3 best players, but they pounded Michigan without him yesterday and win 76-53. And so I don't know if it says more about Illinois than it does about Michigan. I mean, Rudy's come in and said, who's going to beat Michigan? Well, Illinois will, right? But I don't know. Is that just a blip on a very, very intense landscape, or is that showing you something that, hey, look, nobody's unbeatable except for so far Gonzaga, and who are they playing?
I think it's a blip on Michigan's radar, but it means a ton to Illinois because guess what? I think that puts them in the number 1 seed conversation. All of a sudden, you start looking at what they've been able to do, how good they are without their best player on the floor. That's going to be huge when you come down the stretch and you figure they'll pick up a couple more wins in the Big Ten Conference Tournament, potentially be, who knows, maybe we see that matchup again in the Big Ten Conference Tournament championship game, Michigan and the Illini battling for one of the 4 number 1 seeds. But it was a huge statement just to beat Michigan like that. Like, Michigan was never in that game. And it was just one of the wow moments. And you're watching it in the second half, and it was Jay Billis and blanking on who the play-by-play guy was, but they were just, like, in awe. Like, the play-by-play guy, just every time they come back for break, they're like, Illinois' best player's not here. Illinois' best player's not here. And they just kept running away from Michigan.
Yeah, Trent Frazier scored 16 points in the second half, and I don't know when they're going to get Ayo Dosunmu back, but it'll probably be next week in time for the Big Ten tournament. So that's a big statement game yesterday. But watch it at the top. You always watch the ones. To me, I've never thought there was a huge difference between the 1 and 2 line. Like each year, you look at the top 8 seeds in the tournament, the 1s and the 2s, and you just go, wow, okay. I mean, they're all, there's always that 1 or 2 teams going in, and this year it's Gonzaga and Baylor, and we thought Michigan, and it still could be Michigan. But after that, you start saying, all right, then there's the Illinois and the Alabamas and the whoever else. It's usually there's Kentucky and Duke and Carolina, and so I never get as concerned there. I always kind of watch the bubble. The bubble's moving too, and that was the Colorado State game tonight. That's the Boise State game last night. That burrito looks good. Alden's faces right in the camera when he eats. Like it's like literally there's his mouth biting in the burrito. Yeah, it looks good. And you can watch that too on the ProView networks if you want. But JJ, that's kind of where I watch. But yeah, big games, and we're gonna watch them and look forward to talking to Jerry tomorrow and see what that means. One other college basketball note: the coach at Creighton, Greg McDermott, who's been there, JJ, for 17 years or something, and never have you ever heard a bad thing, any negative about Greg McDermott in regards to his treatment of players, how he is with players? This feels like just a bad moment with a bad tone-deaf, and I'll explain it, but a tone-deaf choice of words. Does it to you?
Absolutely.
All right. Greg McDermott, after a loss, let me just quote. On February 27th, after an emotionally tough loss on the road, I addressed our student athletes and staff in the post-game locker room and used a terribly inappropriate analogy in making a point about staying together as a team. All right. This is what he said. Quote, guys, we got to stick together. We need both feet in. I need everybody to stay on the plantation. I can't have anybody leave the plantation, end quote. There's words that just don't work, period. And especially don't work when your audience, when they're directed at African American people. And obviously a college basketball locker room is majority African American men, and there were people, and Terrence Rencher, former coach around here, is on that staff, and said he was offended. He sticks with Coach McDermott. Never seen any acts of racism, but he's here for the student athletes. Is this bigger than? Has it been made to be bigger than it is, or it's a deal. I hope it doesn't cost us.
I don't think it's going to cost him his job.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. It's just one of those moments, like, words do matter, and especially when you're a head coach or in any prominent position. You should still be held accountable for what you say. And I don't think this is cost him his job, but it's just like, where does that even cross your mind? Like, that word is not, I think back, I'm like, when would I ever use that, like, in conversation, or even want to use that as an analogy?
I wonder if it's an expression that maybe he saw in a movie or heard. So, I mean, I've heard the expression before, but why do you feel that I'm going to use it now to motivate this team and use that word?
Yeah, you have a bunch of black student athletes looking back at you, and they're just like, "What?"
Right, and it's the connotation. I know there's people sitting in our audience right now. Listen, Jeff, that's ridiculous. The plantation can mean this, it can mean this, but it can also mean that. And to that audience, that's what it means. Whether you intended it that way or you didn't, and I don't believe he did. You just look. If you're a leader, no matter who you are, but if you're a leader, you've got to be aware of to whom it is you're speaking. And I think this goes away in a week. I do, and we'll see how his student. He's got a good team. He's got a really good team. But it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. All right, 505-246-0610. We're on ProView Networks. You can watch us on the Facebook, the OD and the AM, or on ProView Networks YouTube channel. You can send me emails, jeff@sportsanimalabq.com, jj@sportsanimalabq.com. We've got to get in DAC, and we will do that. If you want to get in on APS and what they're doing, Isotope schedule being pushed back, we'll get there as well. A few truths, though, for you as you roll through your Wednesday. Men age, and as they do, things like fatigue and low T and hair loss become natural. There's a pretty good chance it's going to happen to you. There's also something you can do about it. You can battle nature and feel like you. So if you're experiencing those things, you're regularly tired, maybe you're carrying a few extra pounds, or you're dealing with erectile dysfunction, I suggest you call New Male. New Male has led the way in helping men with these issues for years. They've got a testosterone replacement, which utilizes the latest edge technology. Men all over the country are benefiting from this, and they feel better. You just got to pick up a phone. Find them at 505-652-1688 or visit NewMail. That's NUMALE.com. Guys, NewMail is convenient. They're right here in Albuquerque. The process is comfortable. Starts with your phone call all the way through the treatment. NewMail guides you through this process, and the best part is the results are real. You're going to feel good again. 505-652-1688. Don't put it off. take care of you. Visit newmail.com or call 505-652-1688. You will feel better.
Staples helps you get back to business with custom printed signs and sales material.
To create space, he gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
Coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores, and is fouled.
Brought here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a... Around the screen. Against White. Step back. It's blocked. JB with the block.
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good. What a three that is by Jalen.
Hidon puts it up.
Rebound Cowboys. Right side David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
As Pavi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell, look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side, provides some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown. Webskowski. An 8. 2 receivers at the top. Harris. All day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man! Touchdown! Wildcats! Not a defender inside. A little bit. Skowski on the sideline! Hasta mañana! He's off to the races! Touchdown! Clovis!
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman, he's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get guarded.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's Krebs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
So they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
Jeffy, remember when we used to be arguing on the OD whether Lowell basketball should be a 2 or a 3 seed? Those were the days. That's from Gopher. P.S. The real reason Fresno State won is they wanted to avoid the 6 seed and playing the Lobos in the first round. That's a pretty good point. That's a pretty good point. JJ, we used to sit around. I think you were with me. And we used to talk about, should the Lobos be a 2 seed or a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament? Then they would get the 3 seed. Oh, they got robbed. They got robbed. Remember when CBS came to the pit on Selection Sunday and there was Alford and his teams? And I know things are different. I mean, the fact that you and I aren't even going. Well, are you going next week to the conference tournament? You're not.
No.
I mean, I can't tell you the last conference tournament I missed. Right? I'm typically always going, and the fact that we could do this, I could do this from the hotel now instead of having to go get a key to the Thomas and Mack Center. And
he's like, hello, anyone in there still?
Dude, I mean, that was my routine the last bunch of years, is stumble in, take a 45-minute nap. I mean, get a good night's sleep and take an Uber over to the Thomas and Mack Center. I had a key because nobody was there to let you in. And I remember years ago I did it with Galletti. How many years ago was Galletti? God, that's how many years ago I've been doing this. And he would pick me up, and we'd go over there, and we couldn't get in. And he's like, well, I said, there's a guy that's a custodian. He's like, that guy, that's a homeless guy. That guy. I'm like, no, he's gonna that guy. I don't want to talk to him. I'm like, sir, can you let us in there? That's how we got into the building to do it. Sit in that and gosh, JJ, just sitting in that empty media room all morning, and then like in the 9 o'clock hour, people are kind of filing in to start doing their work, and I'm all by myself. I had that one cup of coffee I got
myself.
Yeah, it's
and that wasn't quite like the sportsbook days at the Hard Rock when they brought us breakfast.
Remember those?
Those were the days.
That's the truth, man. When I had that hookup at the Hard Rock, our guy was our guy through the Vegas Bowl, and then he went to a different property, so we lost that hookup. But Michael, we would sit at the right there. They set a table right on the side of the sports book. So we had all the TVs, and literally all we had to do was our commute was coming downstairs in the elevator. Just make sure we push casino level.
The right button.
The right button. And then roll up with our big case of equipment and set it up. And they would bring us breakfast and thank us for being there. And then remember when there's Gottlieb placing his bets and he came on with us? So Doug Gottlieb with CBS Sports was placing his bets, and we grabbed him, and he put a headset on him, and he came on with us for a segment. And those were good days. But this is next week's that week. And I know everything's odd. Everything's different. It's COVID. But this hits home just about as much as anything for me, that this is different. And not that I haven't gone to the office regularly, not that I'm not seeing you every day. But it's 1 year, because that was my last trip. Except for the New Mexico Bowl. Well, and except for yesterday. But before everything shut down, I was in Vegas for the conference tournament. And I remember it was this whole COVID thing, and the cab drivers and the Uber drivers were going, yeah, they say this thing's going to hit crazy next week, and we may shut down. And I felt for them. Remember the Mountain West tournament was a week before. The WAC tournament didn't play. I came home on Sunday, and literally things shut down on Wednesday that week. The next week. I mean, that was it.
There's probably a lot of I'm sure that there's plenty of people listening right now. That was the last time they went anywhere, was to watch the Lobos play basketball in Las Vegas. When you think about what we've gone through over the last year, and looking back at it, it was February 24th was the last women's game in the pit. 29th was the last men's game, and then they wrapped up the high school tournament, and that was it until this past weekend when you saw some high school meets, and then Lobo baseball actually have fans.
Yeah, that had to
Independence
be
game.
what, the 13th, like the 14th was probably Saturday, I'm going to guess, March 14th in the pit, because I want to say the 12th, and I only remember it because that was supposed to be Addie's first lacrosse game on a Thursday, and that got shut down 3 hours before, and I remember them saying the state tournament finish, and yeah, it's a year, dude, a year. But that was the last trip, and I remember, who was there and who I was with, and Ralph from San Diego was there actually on that trip. But it's just weird not going to Vegas next week, JJ. I saw. It's just weird not going to Vegas next week, and where we going, and how we doing the show, and credentials and everything else. But it just goes to Gophers' email. It's also kind of weird for the Lobos. Would we be going? They're an 11 seed. I guess we'd be going for the women. But would we be going out to watch the 11 seed play at noon on a Tuesday or something? I don't know. All right, we're going to get in the NFL when we get back. 505-246-0610. Dak wants Mahomes money. Just under Mahomes. He wants just under Mahomes, right after him. He's playing on the franchise tag, if that's the case. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Played over to Madrid. Plays it across the box off the dasher. It's settled. Shot on by Garcia. Trickles in. Goal.
Chavez blocked at the rim. And here's Dorian Lewis to Watson.
Shot on and just wide. Big deflection. Goal.
With his first field goal. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
Not a game you can go have 25 turnovers in and win.
Get that out of here, Watson says.
Here comes Hodnett all the way. He's blocked in return.
Dickey, did he get it off? He did, and he hit it.
They're really.
Oliveras. Wild three, and it hit.
Another steal nearly by Hiron. It is a steal. Avalos ahead to Hiron. The two-hand hammer by Hiron. I knew he was going to put that one down.
ProView Networks tonight.
District mashup there.
Davidson took it away in transition. Might be time for a jam. Yes.
Oh!
Big Barton, watch him, coach. Watch the inbounder.
Duma Sanchez in the corner.
Back to Barton with 2.4 seconds left. Fires for the win. And he got it! It's good. On the last second shot. He did. Bakes it in from 25 feet and watch the celebration right in front of us. What a shot by Barton. He was double teamed and somehow found a way to get it in. Ramos to Gaxiola. High window for the win. It's good. It counts. Gaxiola with the game winner for a Driscoll Heritage.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs.
7 a.m. where have you been? 7 a.m. where is your brother?
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. This is the opening drive with 2-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Siembieda, and JJ Bach.
Well, you want to know, at least Rod does, when are you headed to Vegas, Jefferson? He said. came in at 7:10 this morning, not just now. Like APS, it might not be the full Vegas experience, but I still want a taste. And this year we'll voice J.J. Buck, be right by your side, calling a potential Deep Lady Lobo run in the Mountain West Conference Tournament. The answer is no. Now they may make a run, but yeah, we're not going. We're not going. And then the other one that came in early, Lars wants to know: did Micah really miss hang time, Hefe? Don't you lose your sports animal card for that? No, he's wearing a New Mexico Bowl beanie today, so he gets to keep it. He gets to keep it. What's good? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM at AM 610 Sports Animal. Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck, 505-246-0610 is how to get in today, and we're going to go to the phones. JJ, report this morning Dak Prescott and or his agent want to be paid just behind Patrick Mahomes. And if that's the case, he's playing on the franchise tag and he's gone. Unless somebody wants to go pay him. I imagine he can play on the franchise tag this year and bet on himself again and make $38 million, which will mean over the last 2 years he'd make about $69 million, and then go for, isn't that crazy? And then go for his big money. Never mind this piddly little cash. But with all due respect, Dak Prescott has not earned a Patrick Mahomes. Nobody has. Nobody in this league has, except for Tom Brady, has earned that. And he's beyond earning that. So if that report is true, JJ, you can't sign him. And I hate this story. I'm more sick of this than I am of Brett Favre's coming back from retirement or Tom Brady deflated footballs. I care less. But if that's the case, this is done. He's unless Seattle is willing to pay him and you do that sign and trade, he's playing on the franchise tag, and the Cowboys better start looking for a quarterback.
Yeah, more power to you if you want that money, but no one's going to be giving you that type of money. And I think it makes the decision easy for Dallas. Ultimately, they'll probably franchise tag him because I think that's the best case scenario for their football team, because the hoops that you have to jump through, the money on Russell Wilson's contract is still a little bit more than even we saw Carson Wentz move. And that was to at least a team in Indianapolis that had zero quarterback money on their book, which changed things, and Philadelphia was willing to take the cap hit on their end. And that's one of the things with Russell Wilson. They have work to do because it's not a great relationship, the stories that are coming out between Pete Carroll and his quarterback. However, I still do not see Seattle moving Russell Wilson. So ultimately, Dak Prescott, I believe he'll be franchise tag, play out the year. And then at that point in time, Dallas probably is going to be like, all right, have fun on the free agent market because you're not getting $500 million.
No, unless he wins the Super Bowl this year, right? And he's the reason they win the Super Bowl. And he's betting on himself that he's going to be healthy and come back. You're asking a guy who snapped his leg, who's been good but not close to great, who's shown flashes but not consistency, who's been great coming from behind but has been getting behind all the time, and who's not winning it at a great clip. And that's fair. You're right. It's not all his fault. But there's no way. When you look at the situation Philadelphia and the Rams found themselves in after giving a young quarterback that kind of money and got buried under that salary, there's no way they should, and I don't believe there's no way they will do that.
No, they're not. You can't. That's just bad business. It's, there's more negotiating tactics, but I think if you're Dak and you're Dallas, you're just sitting there going, what are we ultimately off on? Because to me, Dak Prescott is better than Jared Goff. Dak Prescott is better than Carson Wentz. But it's just, why are we still here? Do you like him or not? Do you think his ankle's going to be good or not? But then you start dropping hints of, I want Patrick Mahomes money, and then that just means you're not negotiating. Like, you're not getting that kind of money. And then the only way down is going to feel like it's a huge discount if you're sitting there throwing out those numbers.
So if you believe that he's better than Wentz and Goff, do you believe he should be making that kind of money, or do you believe those guys are overpaid? Is it they're overpaid and we're not doing that, or hey, they set the market, I'm better than them, I want a bigger deal than those guys have? Because you look at the situation those two teams were in, the Rams were able to get out of it, but it cost them 2 first-round picks. Eagles got out of it in a messy situation. It cost them really this year. So which way do you look at it? That's the market, or they're overpaid. We're not going there.
But the thing is, too, we get caught up on, well, you can't pay a quarterback. Well, who's winning that doesn't pay a quarterback? Like everyone says, look, Russell Wilson won on his rookie contract. Okay, but at least they've been competitive. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And at some point in time, you're going to have to pay these guys, and you're still going to be able to have to build a football team. So this is a situation where I agree on the Dak Prescott conversation. Like, I'm not giving him $500 million. But there's got to be something else that just hasn't hit yet.
Right.
To why it's these dramatic extremes between the two, like every other week.
Well, here's the other side of that conversation, because you're right. Everybody who's winning has paid their quarterback, but every one of those quarterbacks who has gotten paid has done some winning before getting paid.
Yeah.
And Dak hasn't.
This is a talent situation. Russell Wilson is a better quarterback than Dak Prescott.
Yes.
But I'm also in the boat that I don't think Russell Wilson, you put him on this team, and Dallas all of a sudden is winning 12 games.
Not unless he's rushing the passer.
Right? So and that's the thing, is it's easy to throw that out there, and I say, yeah, I don't have the stats to back it up with Dak. People come in and say, well, look at his record against teams above 500. You're right, and that pushes him down the list. But other than that guy in Kansas City, and then we even saw when it came to the Super Bowl, there's still things that he can't overcome. It's a whole team effort, and that's why I'm not as sour on Dak. Like, I don't look at that record, I don't get overblown by it and say, I don't think this guy can win if you actually do your job around him.
I'm not sour on him. I just don't think he's worth, top 5 money right now. I just, and especially coming off that injury.
Yeah.
Especially coming off that injury. Edward, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care hotline. Good day, sir.
One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish.
Don't know.
A little tribute to Dr. Seuss with all his controversy. Those books were instrumental. I'm going to take you back to the turn of the century when my son was about 3 or 4 years old and learning to read. And that gentleman that wrote those books with kindness in his heart, was instrumental in the cognitive development of my son. And just wanted to throw a little tribute. I usually don't get political. I let people think and say and do what they want. But I thought I'd share that this morning. Hey, the Dak Prescott situation is fascinating, and I think you just alluded to it. You can differentiate, a person can differentiate because we don't think he's worth X amount. It doesn't mean that we're saying he's bad, right? But people can't differentiate that because they're emotionally attached to it. Colin Cowherd, now I can talk about Colin Cowherd because he's on your network. He has a great statement. He says, the Cowboys have made a habit of paying good talent great money. And we don't have to go down the list. I reiterate it all the time. There's probably 4 or 5 contracts that are probably 4 or 5 of the worst in the league. And I think they may do it again with Dak Prescott. I don't think that it's a lazy argument to just attach a win-loss record to a quarterback. I get that. There's more variables. But if you did a blind test and said, okay, here's an individual who's 6-11 in his last 17 starts, hasn't beat one team with the playoff winning record in the last 2.5 years, and you could
and
go
he's
down
coming
the
off a
list of,
snapped leg. He's coming off a major injury,
a significant injury. Yes, no one's disputing that he has earned a franchise quarterback deal. Last year, when they started, not last year, but the previous year, they had made an offer on the table in the $30-some million range, and he wanted 4 years. They offered 5. And then he had 3 great games to begin the season, ironically against probably the 3 worst teams in the league. Washington football team, or Redskins they were called back then, the Giants, who were completely dysfunctional, and the Miami Dolphins. And so his agent pulled the offer and said, we want to up this offer because we think we're worth more. And since then, it's been a gradual decline. The Cowboys and their fans, whether they want to admit it or not, have been mired in mediocrity for a quarter century, and that includes the Tony Romo years. Mired in mediocrity. The definition of mediocrity, around 500, 8-8. You can go down and look at the records. So if they want to continue doing what they're doing, I wouldn't expect a different result. I think that they're going to handcuff their organization if they assign Dak to a long-term deal for that kind of money. But they don't. My last name's not Jones, and I don't make that decision, right? So I just think it's fascinating how this is going to play out. But they can't remove. You know that Dak made $50 million in marketing dollars cumulatively as of 2 years ago. $50 million. That's the benefit of being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, and I get it, right? But the marketing machine behind him and Tony Romo, you know, over the past 15 years, I don't get it. I see very good to sometimes very good play, but they haven't delivered exceptional results.
That's right. Look, he deserves to be paid as like a top, 6 to 10 quarterback.
Sure.
He's not elite. He's very good. He is a franchise quarterback. But I don't even know where these demands come from.
But also, guys, show me who's winning with these cheap quarterbacks.
Well, but is that cheap? Is that cheap?
No, but they're handcuffing the organization. Like, who's out there winning with cheap quarterback? Like, Tom Brady's not getting paid pennies.
No, you're right, JJ. And
what are we doing?
And I'll try to pull it up and share it with you via text or whatever. But there's a stat over the last 20 years in the salary cap era. When your quarterback makes over, I think it's like 20% of the salary cap, not one of them has won the Super Bowl. Not one of them. So it doesn't completely answer your question, but there's some validity behind the data to say once you commit to that big contract, then you're kind of handcuffed financially as an organization.
Yeah, I would like to see the numbers when you make that gigantic contract. And so if the number's a quarter of your salary cap, whatever, JJ, how many of those teams are winning after they do that?
But what are you supposed to do?
Yeah,
because Russell Wilson wins, you want to pay him.
Market value.
Patrick Mahomes wins, you want to pay him.
Yeah, no,
sure.
Pay him market value. And when he wins, I just think what he's asking for is outrageous. You go with market value, and Patrick Mahomes is not market value for Dak Prescott. It's just not.
You're right. Guys, real brief, because I know you're up on break. Look at the last 5 Super Bowls. Brady, $25 million a year. Before that, Mahomes was on his rookie contract. Before that, Philadelphia was with a backup. Before that, Brady took a significant salary cut. Before that, whoever won the Super Bowl before that, I think it was Denver. Peyton Manning wasn't on a huge contract, relatively speaking. And so the data's there. You just have to dig through it. Yeah. But, JJ, I don't know the answer. But I know the answer is once you commit to that huge contract, you're kind of handcuffed financially. So I appreciate you letting me share my thoughts. Right. Have a delightful day, gentlemen.
See you. If they produce, it's one thing. Market value. I'm all about market value, and I'm not saying cheap. And
it's such a hard conversation, because you show me these teams that aren't paying quarterbacks that are winning. Like, what did Teddy Bridgewater do last year? He won 5 football games.
Everybody's paying a quarterback,
and then all of a sudden you get to a Super Bowl and it's not good enough. You don't like Jimmy Garoppolo anymore. You don't like Jared Goff anymore. It's like, what are we doing here?
It's a great point. It's a great point. Hey, who's protecting your home or business? It should be International Protective Service, IPS. Maybe you signed up for local armed response, and then you found out you were selected in a buyout, and now you're on the brink of another merger with a national company, and that's not what you signed up for. The local company invested in Albuquerque and committed to your home and business security with highly trained armed guards. Their 24-hour patrols is IPS. Give them a call. JJ, I was looking at the home security cameras when I was out of town there, and I let them know. And they came by a few times. Literally, like they're there at 3:00-something in the morning, checking the doors and going around the back and just doing the security check. Everything you want, they're there for you, and it gives you peace of mind. Protect what is important to you. Do not wait until something bad happens. You know the significance. You know how real property crime is in the city. Protect yourself, your family, and what's important to you. Call International Protective Service. The number is 505-897-2420. That's 505-897-2420, or go to ipsglobal.com.
You have to be up in 5 hours.
When you're in a hurry, Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson, And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swords Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swords Team Sales.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Here's Natalia Chavez. Good spin. Takes it.
Here's Ramos. Nice jump stop to the.
Played with the gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a. Hill, little step, high window with him.
Got the second.
To the middle. Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry. Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
Reverse layup. Gallegos spins. Window. Finishes.
There's a run coming from
Lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime.
There's no easy solution, but I think one of the obvious solutions is Dak isn't making Mahomes money. I think you got to decide now: is Dak worth a contract that looks like Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, which, by the way, is 2 to 3 years old and has probably gone up? I'm all about market value, man. I'm not saying go on the cheap and find a Cam for $1 million. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm also saying don't find yourself in a situation where you're going to be like the Rams or anybody else, where you're buried under a contract with a guy who's good, but
then there's two quarterbacks that you're ever going to feel good with in this league. My thing is, Edwards' point is not for $500 million.
Okay.
I'm not saying that, but Edward keeps coming from a standpoint of something that's not going to happen. Like he acts like Tom Brady was paid like $1 a year. It wasn't the case. It was they were shorter contracts, so Tom Brady signed more times with the Patriots, and they were creative. The thing in all this is, how do you present that? How do you say a quarterback, hey, we're going to pay you a little bit less, but trust us and we'll invest in the rest of the roster? And that's the thing. Did we ever stop to think maybe Dak just doesn't want to be the Cowboys quarterback?
I've been saying that for how long?
Like, he's just trying to push himself. He understands, all right, I'm probably going to have to play under one more franchise tag quarterback, but maybe he does want to finally test free agency, and that could be a huge part of this, is they are building that gap. They could be the ones pushing this narrative out there, because everyone's going to be like, we're not giving you $500 million. But they build that gap, and then they finally hit the open market. And guess what?
They get paid.
If you hand out bad contracts, you can cut those players. If you want to get rid of Zeke's contract, cut him. But it goes back to, ultimately, I think we're all on the same page. We don't think Jerry Jones is going to do any of that. And Dak might be building that, I shouldn't say building, but putting that wedge between himself and the Dallas Cowboys.
I've been telling you all year I think it's better for Dak to hit the free agent market. That if he could now without this franchise tag, that he would, and he'd get paid. I've been telling you that all year. all winter. Ray, good morning. Thanks for holding. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good morning, Ray.
How's it going, guys?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good. I talked to you guys a while back, too. I told you I didn't think Dak Prescott was even a top 10 quarterback, and he shouldn't get paid that kind of money. And now that he got hurt with this injury that he has, he's just going to make him the only reason that made him half decent is because he run the ball. Now he isn't going to be able to run the ball, and I don't care what he says or what people say. I know it because my team was the Raiders, and Carr had that first year. We went, 10-2, and he got hurt. He's never been the same since. Happy feet back there. People get close to him. He hasn't been the same, no matter what kind of injury. And that was to his leg. Same thing with Dak. He's going to make him one dimension, just a drop-back passer. And there's no way he is a drop-back passer. He needs to run. With his injuries, no running, he's not going to be even half as good as they think. He's just trying to get his money now while he can, because he probably knows that too. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Ray. Rudy, you're up next on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Rudy.
So you ask a rhetorical question and then you get the answer, right?
What was that?
I meant it rhetorically because I was worried about this Illinois game, and I don't know what happened to Michigan last night, but they did not look good. You got to give Illinois credit. Illinois made them look bad. And Kofi Coburn is just a beast. I don't know. Maybe that's the new recruiting spot, Jamaica. Let's go down to Jamaica and find a couple of players, Jeff.
Sure. Australia, Jamaica, wherever. I'll go with you. I'll go on that recruiting trip. I'm in, man. I want to go on that trip.
So, very interesting turn of events. I got a call yesterday from Kenny Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And he has put his name in the hat for this Lobo coaching job. And that's an intriguing angle.
Has Kenny coached at all?
Say what?
Has Kenny coached at all?
Oh, yeah. He's coaching 5 AAU teams in the Sacramento area right now.
Okay.
I mean, he's coached as much as Jawan Howard coached before Jawan took the job at Michigan. Let's put it that way.
Well, Jawan, was Jawan not on an NBA bench? And I could be wrong, JJ. Was Jawan Howard on an NBA bench before?
No, when he was playing, he was a player coach, is what they called him.
All right.
So his last couple of years, I think they called him an assistant coach, player coach, whatever. Here's the thing that intrigues me about Kenny. He played for 9 different head coaches in his 11-year career. So I think he has the breadth of what coaches do and how they operate. The other thing that Kenny told me, and I find this particularly exciting, is that Larry Brown is committed to come with him.
As an assistant?
As an assistant coach.
Yeah, that's big.
Apparently Larry's bored. He made all that money. He wants to help Kenny. And if Kenny gets the job, he's committed to coming and being second man for Kenny.
Larry's 80 years old, but he's won an NBA championship, won NCAA titles. Larry Brown, I think Rudy has coached in everywhere except for New Mexico, right? It's like, how you check off your list. I've been to every state except for Alaska and Maine, and I think Larry Brown's coached in every state but New Mexico. He's just trying to fill out the map.
Larry's comment, I saw the text, and Larry's comment is, Kenny, this is exactly what New Mexico needs. Somebody who knows the past, heck, for what it's worth, make it a generational thing. I think Kenny could bridge the gap between all the generations of Lobo basketball. He certainly knows the history of Lobo basketball. He was involved in it. He was part of the best 4-year run in the history of the program.
True.
So, it's an interesting angle. And so Eddie is going to be presented with some really good choices. And I think that it's what ex-coach told me. He said, maybe out there the general perception of the public is this isn't a good job, but you talk to basketball coaches, college basketball coaches, and this is a plum job. Maybe it's not Duke, maybe it's not Kentucky, maybe it's not North Carolina, but it is New Mexico. And anytime you have the pit, you have an advantage.
Anybody who thinks I love reading the comments, whether it's in social media or it's wherever, that who's going to want this job? Nobody's going to want. Are you out of your mind? This job is going to be.
It's a coveted job, Jeff. You know that.
Yeah.
Anybody that knows sports knows that. Dave Bliss came from Oklahoma and SMU to New Mexico.
Yeah, Alfred left Iowa.
Yeah. This is a job, because of the facilities, because of the history, that is a job that a lot of people keep an eye on and covet. So let's see if Eddie, who's a basketball guy, can parlay that into something really special. And my thoughts and prayers are with this Lobo team and Coach Weir. And, certainly I've gotten to know Coach Weir, and it really hurts that it didn't work out, because there's not a more tremendous person that I've ever met than Paul.
He'll be
been
good.
a friend to me. He's been a friend of my family. His heartfelt statement, I mean, that's the absolute definition of class.
Yep. No, it was nice. It was nice, and again, nobody. I don't hear very many negative things about Paul. So, and Paul will be fine. Paul is going to do whatever Paul wants to do, and he's going to be successful. So.
Yeah, I guess he's going back home to Canada for a while. So that would be good.
Hey, just for the record, 2013 to 2019, Juwan Howard was an assistant coach for the Miami Heat.
Okay.
So
I don't know what that means, but
he was an assistant. He was assistant coach. He was on the staff on the bench. So.
Yeah, and by the same token, Kenny, watching 11 years of NBA basketball and playing in it, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying one's better than the other. I just wanted to just. No. I know we went back.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great, and whoever we get, let's make sure that this is the one that gets us back to the top of the Mountain West. That's all I care about.
Yep, I know. All right, man. Good to hear you.
Okay, you too. Take care.
Thank you, Rudy. What do you think, Kenny Thomas, with Larry Brown as an assistant?
Put it on the list. No, I do think, which is surprising, Rudy being a Michigan guy, he's underselling Juwan Howard. He wasn't a player coach. He was a legitimate NBA assistant coach for 6 seasons, not just sitting on the end of the bench.
A suit and tie guy, not wearing sweats that goes in at the end of the game. He was a suit and tie coach, like a real live assistant coach. I don't know. What do you think? It's something that puts your mind in a different place. Kenny Thomas, who one of the all-time greats, played 11 years in the NBA, I believe 11 years, with Larry Brown.
Were you hiring Kenny Thomas or you hiring Larry Brown?
Well, were you hiring Danny Gonzalez or were you hiring Rocky Long? Right. So
you were hiring Danny Gonzalez.
No doubt. Right. I think that's right, and I think it's different. It's not apples to apples. I understand that. I mean, yeah. Which one are you hiring? You're hiring one with the other as his mentor, obviously. I mean, it's another one to throw out there. I'm just kind of curious what people think, because that's it's certainly another way to think. It's certainly another where this hasn't been going. Right? 505-246-0610. That's how you can get here. 888-922-0610. How's your vehicle looking? Mine just went on a road trip, and JJ, I think I need to call my good friends at On the Spot Auto Detail and have them come out here and get the vehicle detailed. Detailed, not washed. Detailed. Look, this winter has probably been brutal on your vehicle. The cold air pulled all the moisture out of the paint. It's a lot easier to chip, and then there's the junk on the road, the dirt, the sand, the salt. It's bad for your paint. You don't want to wash it. You don't want to clean it. You don't have the time. It's not any fun. Call On the Spot Automotive Detailing. On the Spot Automotive Detailing comes to you wherever and whenever it is convenient for you. They come to you and they detail your vehicle. Inside, outside. When they're done, the smell, the stains, the spills, the pet hair, the French fries, the wrappers, the receipts, the gum. Oh, wait, there's that hair clip your daughter had been looking for. All of it is taken care of. It's like the day you took it off the lot. Those big car washes that maybe you take it to, they got hundreds of vehicles that go through them every day, and unless they keep those brushes clean, they can scratch your paint. They're done in like 7 minutes. 7 minutes. On the Spot Automotive Detailing will take up to an hour, even more, just to make sure they get the job done right. Call On the Spot Automotive Detailing. This is a wonderful, wonderful deal, and you protect your investment. 505-859-2859 is the number. 505-859-2859 or visit otsdetailing.com.
That
So
earlier
Kenny
westbound accident
Thomas.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
Here's the long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Forward driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Cropper.
and Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. Here comes Screechers. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up off the middle, it's got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds, into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portel.
But JJ, what did Ray say? Dak Prescott is not a top 10 quarterback, right? I think he's right. It's the opening drive. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. JJ thinks he's wrong. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. So you said to me during the break, and you're right, we glossed over his call, where he said he's not a top 10 quarterback. And you sit here and say, of course he is. Of course he is. I think he's just outside top 10. I'll give you 10 guys that I think are better. Okay? I think all these guys, to me, I'd rather have instead of Dak right now. And I'll give you 10. Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Those are 10. Mm-hmm. I think he's right in the realm with Ryan Tannehill. I know a lot of people tell me I'm nuts, but Ryan Tannehill to me is a pretty good NFL quarterback. And then you've got these guys that there's two different silos of other guys. There's the guys that you're waiting to, are they going to come back? And that's Wentz, Goff, Jim Garoppolo, and Kirk Cousins. I would rather have Dak instead of them. Then there's these young guys, Burrows, Darnold, Trevor Lawrence, that I think if you said to a lot of people, would you rather have Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, or Dak Prescott, I think it'd be split. So he's probably somewhere in that 11 to 15 category.
I think he's right on the cusp of it. I do think he sneaks in a top 10 quarterback. I think Justin Herbert and Kyler Murray are good. I'm not putting them above Dak Prescott.
I am.
Right now. And to me, we are giving him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he's going to come back and limp around a football field. Like, I don't think all of a sudden Dak Prescott's not going to be able to run the amazing things that we see happen with these athletes in the rehab process. But what it comes back down to is if you're floating out $500 million in negotiations, I think what you're doing is you're just laying the foundation of, okay, if you want to tag us one more year, it's about Dak made $31 million last year in a franchise tag, which if you just did $31 million times 4, all right, it seems like that would be a good contract to agree on moving forward for Dak Prescott. Thumbs up. There you go. But it feels like it's a situation where Dak is laying the foundation to say, all right, I'm one and done after this. Can't agree. I'll hit free agency, and we'll see how this goes.
Look, I think there's a lot of different prongs to this conversation. And I told you all winter, I think Dak might be better served to go somewhere else. I think if Dak could be a free agent this year with all the quarterback movement, I think he would get paid in New Orleans if they can't get Russell Wilson. I think he would get paid. Now, nobody's paying him the Patrick Mahomes money. Nobody. Okay? He might have gotten paid in New England. He might get paid in, maybe even San Francisco if they're done with Jim Garoppolo, but I don't know if they are. He would get paid in Chicago because they're dying for a quarterback. So next year, is it going to be the same? I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as tumultuous, as much movement as this year, just because so many teams who are in the market this year are going to shore it up, whether it's going to be through the draft or whether it's going to be signing somebody to a longer deal. So I don't know how many holes there's going to be, but I guarantee you there will. JJ, we went into this season saying this is the most steady, the most secure the quarterback position is in the league. Guys like Jameis Winston, Cam Newton couldn't find a starting job, right? And now here we are, a full season later, and there's 18 teams that could be in flux. So I got to believe there's always somewhere that's going to be looking that didn't solve their problem. Washington, he would get paid, right? If he's on the free agent market next year, Washington's probably still there looking for a quarterback to pay him. And if he plays to that level, then either Dallas is going to sign him, right, or he can say, deuces, I'm out.
But in this I don't think he's necessarily making 50% more, 75% more on the open market, which is I just keep going back to, is there something that we just haven't hit on? Is there something we just haven't heard to where there'd be such dramatic extremes? Like, where is something like this coming from? Everyone wants to be valued, okay, but you're not getting Mahomes money, so why are you putting that out there? Are you putting it out there to make Dallas look bad? Are you putting it out there just to officially say, hey, we don't want to be here?
Yeah, do you feel that makes Dallas look bad?
But it just puts more pressure on them ultimately. Just why don't you want to sign this guy? I know if you say, well, it's Patrick Mahomes' money, okay, I think people are going to understand that. But then it just keeps putting that stamp on these two want to go their separate ways? And are they hoping to just throw so much out there that they don't get hit with the franchise tag now, and they can figure it out?
You know, I don't know if they both want to go their separate. I think Dallas wants to sign him. I think Dallas gave him the contract offer last year, 5 years, pretty good, $30 million. That's a real commitment contract.
Fair offer.
It's absolutely fair, and it's a commitment. I think, to your point, you're right. This isn't done. This to me, as much as it's easy to hit on Jerry and say this is Jerry Jones and he can't. This is not a Jerry Jones faulted problem. To me, the reason this isn't done is because Dak hasn't want to get it done.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard Dak or his agent say we want to get this done?
No, it's just been
numbers.
Just the lingering and sitting out there. And this is one too where you can get out of bad contracts. You might have to eat some money, but you can get out of bad contracts. I'm not too worried about that right now with Dak Prescott. If there's other things holding this team back, it's like, oh, we paid Ezekiel Elliott. Oh, we paid Amari Cooper. We can get rid of Zeke, but you don't want to do that. So this is a situation that you're in dealing with right now.
Because you got to eat a lot of dead money. 505-246-0610. I got emails that come in. Jeff at 610K. What is it? Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com. Say things change and you do something for 12 years one way and it takes a minute. Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com. JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. Get your opinions in when we return. David Johnson's got a new deal with the Texans. Oh, I should have kept him on the fantasy team. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
When you talk to a Dell Technologies advisor, you get someone who understands. There's
Davis and on the play action looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. So Davison back to tossing. He's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
We told you he
touchdown.
Could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the wind at his back, but.
Forward dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, the Gates, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A little jump step in the. And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround. Ramos, pump fake, everyone bites. Ramos hits.
Jackson loses it. Taylor Bond back. LAU, put it down. Dunkalicious. How about it?
Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the shot it, sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. BC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku. Oh. Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move.
Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Barnes Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous.
Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam one home.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand. And
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji.
To say, Jerry, just pay the man. It is. And it's so easy when it comes to Cowboy conversation to blame Jerry, and typically, I think that's right. But whoever, JJ, everybody on CBS Sports Network go by initials. I'm JR, I'm DA, I'm LQ, or whatever. I mean, whatever JR just told me during this last
break. Got to jump in. JJ.
Yeah, JJ, JR, DA, BS. I listened to that during the break. Jerry's got to pay them. Pay him what?
Pay him, Jeff. Pay him.
Okay, but pay him because he's asking for Patrick Mahomes type money? No, this one's not on Jerry. Jerry offered him a very fair, above market value contract, and he turned it down. I think you're right. I just think there's something that says he doesn't want to be there. This is why is Dak getting off scot-free in everybody's mind? And maybe it's because it's Jerry and it's easy to jump on and beat up on Jerry Jones. But why is Dak getting off scot-free in this negotiation? Somebody's got to explain to me how he has performed and earned a contract and even earned the cojones to go out there and say, I want to be paid behind only Patrick Mahomes. How is he getting away unscathed on this? And guys like this guy in this last break come on national radio and say, pay the man. How has he earned it?
It's the Jerry Jones philosophy. Always people looking at him as the reason, and why, to your point, Dak hasn't necessarily been hit for asking for $500 million.
Yeah, this one's beyond me, man. Lance, do you get it? Good morning, Lance. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, sir.
No, you finished that conversation. As far as I'm concerned, I agree with everything you said. But JJ, this is magnificent. You're good luck, my friend. Your first, time calling the Lady Lobos, the first season. And you've taken them on the verge of winning a championship.
You get a ring?
Give all the credit to you. Although Fred did say to deaf ears on both, stations that the Lobos could win a championship, and nobody really listened. But anyway, baseball christening their home field. Pitcher from Cruces, 4 hits, 1 run. On that sweep here at home, to be able to have people play at home. Even though it's late. It's such an amazing thing. I used to prepare. Oh, and the football. Let's not forget the football's back all at the same time. Used to prepare the Lobos home game meals back when I worked at the quarters before they invented the wheel. And Michael Cooper would come in the back door. He'd come in often and just grab ribs off the grill. But anyway, when he went into where they're having their team meal, they all stood up and cheered. He recruited a lot of those guys, helped them out, and it's just, that's what, everywhere he goes, it's going to be like that, Also, too, he coached, the WNBA team to a championship, and coached different places. Get some guy like, Howard said, the guy from Tulsa, what does that have to do with anything? I mean, you need players, We just hadn't had players, and then a guy that works in, your field told me on the phone that, he's friends with Magic Johnson, and Magic already said he'd go to a 5-star recruit's house in L.A., and help him out. Now, what better does it get than that? We need the players. And, Howard, just keep your yappers shut. But I'm proud of you, JJ. You brought us, looks like, to a championship, and it's that time. I'm feeling it.
What did Howard do to Lance to get him to call? He almost said Lance or Howard's name more than he said on that call. What did Howard do to upset Lance? So he wants Michael Cooper as coach. All right. A lot of people have told me that coming off of what Coop had to say on our show on Monday. I heard a number of people call me, hey, you know what? That's not a bad idea. I didn't think about it, but look, there's a lot of ways to go on this thing. There's a lot of ways to go. I trust Eddie's judgment on this, and that he's gonna do the right, make the right move. And I like I told you during the football process, there's a real good chance it doesn't go where you want it to go. Right? Everybody's got their guy. It was that same way during football. There were a lot of people who were on Danny. There were a lot of people who were. What were the other day? I can't even remember. It was only a year ago. What were the other names that were the big names for the football job? JJ, do you remember?
Goodness.
It was the guy from Weber State, Jay Hill, I believe. Right? That was a big name. A lot of people really wanted to go there. Wherever, and then there were some bigger names out. But wherever it is, if it's not your guy, give it a chance. Because I think Eddie. This is Eddie's expertise. Eddie's coached. He played college basketball. He's well connected in basketball. I'm going to trust him on this one, and I think it's going to go the right way. So what do you think? What Rudy said? Kenny Thomas, Larry Brown.
I do think it's interesting. Now, to me, you want a coach that has a good staff, and it goes along with the conversation that we kind of got into yesterday. If you have a head coach, maybe he's more that prominent figure, face of the program, doing everything else, but he has an established staff. Is that a way moving forward as well, as opposed to having a head coach that you think is great in every area, which you have to have the balance. Is the head coach going to be the greatest recruiter, greatest coach, etc., or is he going to have his strengths? And then is he going to need to fill out his staff? And the answer to that is yes, you're going to have to fill out your staff. And so, yeah, you're hiring Kenny Thomas to be the face, but would he be the coach, or would he kind of grow into that? And is that what you want right now?
Well, you'd have a Hall of Famer sitting on that staff. Larry Brown can coach basketball at every level. Whether it was Kansas or UCLA or in the pros, Larry Brown is one. Now, I don't know what Larry Brown's doing and 80 years old. How much, what does he want to do? It's interesting that he's taken such a keen interest in Kenny. And that validates, that should be somewhat validating. 505-246-0610. All right, get in on the Dak stuff. Somebody help me understand why Dak is not getting any of the blame on this when he's had every opportunity to sign for a whole lot of money. And now he's coming out saying, I want to be paid behind only Patrick Mahomes? I'm sorry. I mean, I like Dak, but I think he's out of his mind. It's the opening drive on ProView Networks, at 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
Into Watson with the jam.
Far with the ball at the end. Another steal by Davino Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. The lob to Agbaiosi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores. Cut into it. And had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo. Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos. Got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hatsberry's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Strip. Leon stripped him. From Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got him. What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbaiosi throws it down.
Let's get a little closer. Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll just shoot it. He's going to go all the way.
He's going to fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much. Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this. Stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Could have said that anything better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chapman.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball line. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed
The opening drive with two-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Siembieda, and J.J. Bach.
Ryan says, preach. Preach. I'm not wrong on this Dak thing. I'm not. Like pay the man, JJ, I'm with you. Pay the man market value. That's somewhere between 7 and 12. He's not the only guy I want to be paid. I want more than Tom Brady, and I want more than Aaron Rodgers, and I want more than Kyler Murray and Deshaun Watson. What? Pay the man, but this isn't unfair.
Here's one for you, too, Jeff.
Give me one. Give me one.
Someone doesn't always have to be wrong. Like, it's okay if you don't want to continue your relationship. Like, it doesn't have to be Dak's fault. It doesn't have to be Jerry's fault. Then, yeah, and I'm right there with you. But Dak can say it, but Dallas still has that franchise tag. And guess what? If it was about, we can't have a quarterback taking up 17% of our salary, give Andy Dalton $1 million and go see how many games you win. Do it. All right. Do it, Dallas.
But nobody.
Do it.
Nobody's saying that, or if that's somebody saying, none of us agree with that. If Dak, here's the other piece. If Dak was demanding that money, there would be somebody who was willing to do a sign and trade. There would be New England or Seattle or somebody that would say, you know what, we're going to go ahead and sign him to that deal and work it out with Dak and trade him to us. And we'll take him. And here's Russell Wilson, or here's a bunch of picks, or here's whatever. But it's just not happening out there. Sean, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care hotline. Sean, you want Sam Darnold or you want Dak Prescott? Who do you want?
Who do I want? I'm picking Dak Prescott, but I don't want to pay him that much.
Yeah. All right, what do you got?
We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Lobo coaching situation.
Okay, go.
I was thinking about it, and here's the issue with the Lobo basketball program, is that the administration and the fans have a huge ego. They think this basketball program is more than it is. Look at their prior hires. You have Dave Bliss from SMU, Francis Schiller, St. John's, Richie McKay, Oregon State, Steve Alford, Iowa. Great hires on paper, but look at those guys' situations. They were on their way out at those schools. So they were looking to jump ship. UNM obliged, paid them a lot of money, didn't pan out. It wasn't panning out earlier. They never look for the up-and-coming coach, and that's going to be their biggest issue. I mean, sure, they picked Ware, but that was more out of fear. I mean, think about it. Nobody wanted this job before they hired Paul. Everybody's dropping out of the race.
That's not right.
Panicking.
That's not right. To say nobody wanted this job is not right. Steve Forbes wanted the job. Joe Dooley wanted the job. To say nobody wanted the job is not right.
Okay, so why'd they offer Weir then?
Because they had a regent who basically...
Come on. He's looking down south. He's seeing this guy caught lightning in a bottle for 1 year with a roster that Marvin Menzies built. He's afraid that they're going to take over as the best basketball program in the state. So he hires Weir from the enemy, and he, gets to stick it to NMSU while looking like he made a big hire, and then during a press conference made it up that he was the pick all along, which we all know is not true.
Right.
So the issue
partially right.
They keep looking at peers and Power 5 conferences for coaches, when they should probably pick an up-and-coming guy and actually build something.
All right, so who do you like?
Oh, I don't like any of them. I don't care. I hope they never win a game again.
All right, Sean. Thanks. So let me be very clear on this.
Yeah. So I believe that is Sean, the New Mexico State fan, and not the Jets fan.
Yeah. obviously, different accent. Let me be very clear here. Steve Forbes wanted the job. Joe Dooley wanted the job. Joe Dooley was kind of crushed when he didn't get it. You did have a regent who basically, and I know Paul wanted to go a different way, and this was not completely Paul saying let's go stick it to New Mexico State. There was a lot lot of higher up stuff that went into that hire. Howard, what'd you do to piss off Lance today? He mentioned your name more than he said, I think, in that last call.
I don't know what I did, but the minute I finished, he finished up with that call, I marched right into Edward's office and filled out the necessary paperwork to take a day off so I could go hunt Lance down.
There we go. Careful. That
Yeah,
was right.
Lance is Lance. It's okay. And it's nobody from Tulsa, Lance. It's a gentleman named Toppert from Cornell, and he's coaching with Memphis right now. And
You like Cody, huh?
It's something called basketball IQ, Lance. I know the word IQ escapes you, but it's basketball IQ. I like the Kenny Thomas idea too. I thought that's interesting as well. Do you guys think he's ready for a head coaching job?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Larry Brown being at his side, you can't have a better mentor. I mean, Larry Brown has been successful at every level, and where was he most recently? SMU about 5 years ago or something like that. And if I don't, JJ, how did that end? Did it end messy at SMU? Was there an issue, an NCAA issue with Larry Brown or something? I got to look at that. But I feel like Larry Brown's just trying to fill out his bingo card. New Mexico is the only place in the world he hasn't coached.
That could be, but wouldn't that be pretty exciting to go to a Lobo game? It'd be exciting just to be able to go to a Lobo game, but if we go to one and see Kenny Thomas with Larry Brown sitting beside him there coaching the Lobos, that would be a very interesting hire as well. So and I think not everybody that hasn't been a head coach is everybody needs to start somewhere, correct? So a la Kenny Thomas and Chad Toppert, they all have to start somewhere, and then they build a reputation, and then they leave us for a better job. But anyway, a lot of those other coaching jobs, I thought Sean was related to Lance for a minute at the end of that call, because that was kind of I don't care about any of them. They can all, that was interesting. But, I'm hoping they make a decision sooner than later. And as far as Dak goes, the Cowboys are a train wreck. If they would have paid him a year ago, they would have probably paid a heck of a lot less if they'd have just paid him a year ago. But they have a propensity for shooting themselves in the foot. They paid Zeke too much. They paid Cooper too much. They paid Smith too much, and now they're going to end up having to pay Dak too much. You guys have a good day. Later.
See you. All right. They tried, as like Edward said, or Colin Cowherd really said it. They paid great contracts for good players. Hey, this is pretty big locally. What are you going to do, man? Your buddy Cody Mizell's leaving. Jay Paul, you're going to have a new goalkeeper for United. Cody Mizell's going to the MLS. No Cody Mizell around here. What are you going to do now?
Well, first off, congratulations for the opportunity for Cody.
Did you know that before this came out this morning?
Yes.
Did you? Yeah.
It's just more it's the league, man. You're going for that next step. You want that opportunity, and Cody's been a fantastic player. We've seen him plenty of times with this team have to stand on his head to keep them in games, and I know he's been hungry for this, and he's built a nice little family here in New Mexico. Of course, their son was born here last year, so definitely congratulations to Cody and best wishes to the Mizell family.
Yeah, and United announced it, and this is odd because typically, and I'm convinced that they always put their news releases out right about 10 o'clock, right after our show is over, because I know they don't want us to have anything. I'm kidding, kind of, which I'm good with, because then I don't really have to pay attention to it. But this is a big deal, JJ. Cody Mizell has been a goaltender, and would you say him and Devin Sandoval have kind of been the face of the franchise since it started?
No question. Cody Mizell quickly became a fan favorite, bought into the organization, bought into the community. Good dude as well. If you've been able to just even be around him for a few minutes, and while they say unnamed team, to say I think he's heading to the Northeast.
All right. Let me name you the region, and I'll let them name the team. All right, so United fan, that's a big deal as you get closer. Micah, who'd you tell me is up next?
Mike.
Coming up. Mike, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, Mike. How you living?
Good. Hey,
it's a big deal here. Who are we going to get? You know, what coach? I think it'd be good to bring a coach in who could bring a couple of players with him. You know, create an immediate impact. You know, bring a Garza in, one of them, and with the players they have now, it'd be great. You know, we compete for Mountain West tournament. Come on, Final Four. You know, that's what. And pack the pit is the main thing right away. You know, this rebuilding takes. You know, I'm sure, but there's coaches out there that can bring players in, and that's what we need.
Who do you got in mind? Anybody, or you just that's kind of the
nobody
model
in mind? But you know, there's people out there that that they're with their teams, and maybe there's discrepancy in the program, and they want to leave, so they bring their players with them to New Mexico. A couple of them. You need a lot. Lobos already got good players. You just need a few. You know, that's all I'm saying. Anyway, thank you guys. I'm out.
Thanks. Who's that guy who's gonna? Yeah, I mean, you need players. They all need players. You know, you could make an argument. Who can recruit? Can Michael Cooper go in and Magic Johnson close a deal? Sure. Can Kenny Thomas say, look, I got Larry Brown. I've been in the NBA 11 years. This guy coached everywhere, and look at all these guys, and he's here. He can develop you. Can Cody Toppert say, I've been in the NBA and I've developed Devin Booker, and yeah, sure. Like, everybody's going to have a plus to it, right? Everybody's got to get, there's going to be a lot of good resumes. It's going to be, where does Eddie feel? You know, Frank Martin, look what I've done. 505-246-0610. You can get in on Dak, and you can get in on the Lobos. It's the opening drive. We're on ProView Networks. J. Pole and Alden are producing there. The burritos are gone. Mike is on the radio side wearing his New Mexico Bowl beanie, as he should be. On 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms, and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Natalia Chavez, good spin. Takes it.
Look at Ramos. Nice jump stop too.
Maybe gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a... Step, high window,
got the second. In the middle. Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry. Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
Reverse layup. Gallegos spins. Window.
coming from.
Lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Guys, stop with the Kenny Thomas stuff. I love Kenny. This is from Dave. He says, I love Kenny. I've known him. Saw him play since he was a young man, a young kid, AAU, playing in tournaments here in town before he was recruited at Albuquerque High. But coaching your son's AAU program does not qualify someone to be a D1 head coach and running a program like UNM. Toss in Larry Brown, and you'll have NCAA investigators here within months. Is that what we want? Brown hasn't been at a school that was under some type of an NCAA sanction since after he left. Let Kenny get some good experience coaching and recruiting at a higher level before he's gifted a job like this. Coop has much more experience, and so would Cody Topper. It won't come down to any of those guys, though. Nunez is going to bring in someone he knows will be great and will work here. He's a basketball guy and will pick a good one, but it'll be someone he's comfortable with, not necessarily someone who has ties here. It's from Dave. I tend to agree with him on where it's going to go. Look, I mean, I'll stop with whatever talk when you guys stop talking about it. Rudy called in and talked about Kenny and Larry Brown. It's intriguing. If nothing else, it's intriguing. Kenny was with his best player on the team that had the best 4-year run in the school's history. Stop it with the Alford stuff. As much as that was good, those teams went to 4 straight NCAA tournaments, won a game in 4 straight NCAA tournaments. You don't have a better stretch around here. You don't. So his name's intriguing. Played 11 years in the NBA. He's bringing, supposedly would bring with him a Hall of Fame coach. It's intriguing. Does it work? I'm not sure it does, but I'll listen to why it might.
Yeah, and for Larry Brown, his last time in college coaching was at SMU, and in 2015 he was suspended by the NCAA for 30% of the Mustangs games. They were placed on 3 years probation, lost 9 scholarships, and banned from 2016 postseason play.
Other than that, it worked.
But it was just, a former administrative assistant that committed academic fraud. So,
see? Jeffrey, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hey, good morning. A couple of things, and thanks to you, I've gotten to know, Eddie Nunez pretty well. And it's no secret I've been, critical of the Lobo men's basketball program, particularly since the Alford years. But I had to, in the interest of doing the right thing, I called him a couple of days ago. He called back. That's the one thing about Nunez that I like. He gives people like me access, and that's extraordinarily meaningful. At any rate, I said that I appreciated his boldness and courage and his ability to raise those funds, independent of really kind of, the Lobo fan having to deal with those issues. But I wanted to also just address his boldness because I've been very critical, and I appreciated his access. As far as a head coach, as far as I'm concerned, ideally, I think, you need a combination of various things. A coach who understands and knows how to perform player development. I think you have to, for the purposes of PR, you have to talk about integrity and character, no question. I'd also like to see a coach that understands pregame strategy, preparing a team for his team for a particular opponent, and also having the ability to himself or through his other coaches surrounding him, understanding tactical in-game acumen. I think experience is important. That's why Kenny Thomas is, a nice guy and everything like that, had a great career, but I think we need a coach with experience. But I think in today's world, you also need cachet, je ne sais quoi. And I'm reminded of that because I made it my business to get to know Coach Alford, and notwithstanding his arrogance, the guy was a pretty compelling figure. We were playing golf at a sled. I think I told the story before, but it's relevant to this point I'm making. And in the space of hole 12 and 13 at a sled, by the way, he shot a 74.
Yeah, he's a stick. Yeah,
he had conversations with Coach K, Magic Johnson, and Bobby Knight in that space of time. What it reminded me of, the importance of a coach who has the ability to call anybody in this country and they'll call him back, which can only help with his network of recruiting. And I think in today's world, I think that recruitment piece, it can't be underestimated. The other things you can make up for with other coaches around you, but I think you have to have a coach that has to have some cachet where he can make those calls, because I think recruiting today is extraordinarily meaningful. The days of building a program over a 10-year period, I don't know that that's going to work anymore, because you need continuity. I think coaches, of that caliber for a major program like New Mexico, they're going to stay 2, 3, 4 years. And if they can create some momentum and relevance, then over time we can build that continuity. But I don't think we're going to get a coach here that's going to remain, if he has success, more than 4 or 5 years. The point is, overall, I think you need a coach that has that cachet, that je ne sais quoi, that can make any call to anybody, they'll call him back, and that can only highlight the ability to recruit. And I think that's the most important component.
Do you have someone you like, Jeffrey? Is there someone that at the top of your list?
No, but it's not Kenny Thomas, and it's not because Kenny Thomas wasn't a great player, but I don't know that he's got the experience. I mean, ideally, I think Ideally, it would have been Rick Pitino if Rick Pitino wasn't a miscreant and a kind of a bad guy. But if you could get somebody like him who has the integrity piece, because remember, whether we like Coach Alford or not, or the Patinos of the world, they're going to make any call, and anyone's going to call them back, which can only help with recruiting. And you can talk about all these other people you want, but if they can't make that call, quote unquote, then I think in today's world, the landscape, because it's just so transitory, I think you need somebody to build a program immediately. And you need somebody with that je ne sais quoi quality, in my opinion.
No, it's good. Thank you. So,
thanks, man.
JJ, where he's going is not wrong in a lot of respects. I think everybody that we've talked about has some of those guys in their Rolodex, right? Some of those guys are in their phone. Whether it's, in Jeffrey's term, what did he say? Magic Johnson and Bobby Knight and who else did he say? Krzyzewski. I think they all have some, whether Cody or whether it's Kenny Thomas or whether it's Michael Cooper or whether it's Frank Martin or whoever, anybody that you've mentioned to me. I'm going to tell you that all of those guys have some of those guys, if not all of them, and it's just going to be a different list in their phone that they can call and they can lean on.
Yes. Everyone has someone. And now that is, to Jeffrey's point, something Eddie talked about. What is your mentorship structure look like? Who are you picking up the phone to call for advice? And, some of those names definitely matter to basketball fans, but in terms of connecting now, like, you go to a high school kid and go, hey, you want to talk to Bob Knight? They're like, oh, sure.
Right.
Like, but in terms of his kind of overall point of program building, managing things that you have to do as a head coach, it is absolutely understandable. And to that point, a name that jumped out to me, and we'll have to throw it on the list, it's not Rick Pitino, it's Richard Pitino.
What do you think of that?
You put him in that conversation with Frank Martin, with Archie Miller, guys that they have jobs right now, but could be out there. And so here's the thing. Billy Donovan is off the Rick Pitino coaching tree. There's some connections there. So you just start opening doors, going down those paths.
That's who Eddie played for, right? Eddie played for
what names are out there, and it's another one to put on the list.
Yeah, Richard Pitino does for me about what Tim Miles does for me. And it's all right. Like, he's coached, he's had some success. I just, that doesn't do it for me. I just, what has his success been? And he's really struggling at Minnesota, or struggled at Minnesota, and does it work? This is from James. He says, James is done with the program if they hire Kenny Thomas. You had a caller that said today's 17-year-old player doesn't know Coop. Well, they sure as heck don't know KT. Okay. Kenny, but you know, probably right. That's not Juwan Howard either. Maurice says Nunez is going to hire his kind of coach. Where have I heard that before, Jeff? Remember when folks couldn't wait for Dave Bliss to leave because the Godfather was a great basketball mind? Davalos hired his kind of coaches, and they sucked. Brought in, Fraschilla, then Richie McKay. Tell you what, Fraschilla, by every metric at the time, except for being a fish out of water, was a good hire at the time. Right? Except for just being an East Coast guy, dropped in New Mexico thinking that he had it wired. Fran came in quite cocky. Fran came in really cocky. And this place kind of brought him back down to reality. All right, keep them coming. Who's your guy? What do you think? A lot of different names out there. You can get in on the DAC stuff too. United fan, Cody Mizell, your goalkeeper, going to the MLS. Did you get your guy back from loan from Reno? Is that who your goalkeeper is going to be, the guy that you had on loan last year?
I think they have a little bit of a question mark at the goalkeeper position right now that they have to iron out.
All right. So that's out this morning, too. It's the opening drive. We're on ProView Networks and 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
College basketball is back in session.
Oh, my gosh.
There's the long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Ford driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbelan's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbelan wants to put it down. Here comes Las Cruces. Brown, you can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition, 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel. It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake, double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake. Head up the middle. It's got some room. 50, 45, 40. Has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5. Touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Here is the OD answer. Jeff, what about Loopy for coach? I'd run through a wall for that guy, and I'd just keep going. Lance for coach. All right. You'd run through the wall all day going zoom, 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 zoom. Mike says Hunter still has it, Jeff. JJ thought he was taking it strong to the rim with his comment for Lobo basketball big men, where a bright spot only to get rejected by Hunter when he said he felt that the development of the bigs was the season's biggest disappointment. It's from Mike. I guess you had Hunter Green on yesterday talking about that, huh?
Yeah. And it's just, it goes back to inconsistency. And I get it. It's, really what positives are you pulling out of a team that has 2 wins? And you say, oh, I've liked them for moments, but then there's, as Hunter brought up, how many times have you said, well, where are these guys? Like, were you looking down on what impact have they had on the game? And yeah, it's what happens when you're in last place.
I was talking about what Paul Weir's going to do. I told you I was talking to a coach, a good friend, a former coach who's out, and says, "Gosh, there's life after coaching," and he's really enjoying it. Mike says, "Couldn't disagree more, Jeff. Most coaches need that lifestyle; they thrive on it. How many times do you see guys like Urban Meyer retire only to see him jump back in after a year because the lack of competition is driving them crazy? They're getting in the way of the vacuum cleaner. There's that. Look, there's no absolute in this. I think there's guys like that don't that they're in it for 40-something years or whatever, and they don't know what to do. Right? This is what they've done. I don't think that would be the case with Paul, because I don't think it would be he'd just be at home in the way of the vacuum cleaner. My buddy who I spoke with yesterday, he's out doing something. It's a new career for him. They're realizing that there's another world. If you're just sitting at home, sitting on your piles of cash and playing golf or whatever, I can see where okay, I need to get back in. I need the lifestyle. But if you're 41 years old, as opposed to 58 or 60, 65, and you're starting over again and doing something, I think a lot of guys realize, wow, there's a whole world out there, and Mike, I mean, that wasn't an opinion, that was flat out fact, where somebody got out of it and felt it that way. And I think with Paul, I think there's so many interests, and Paul is such a bright man, a cerebral guy, a good guy. He works his butt off. Look, it didn't work, man. It didn't work, and it's a bummer. I think people are upset for Paul that it didn't happen. But to say that they're all that same breed, do you see where I'm going with that, JJ? Do you disagree with me?
You're right. There's not an absolute. All right, you said Urban Meyer. Yeah, Urban Meyer has this itch that he wants to continue to scratch, but we've also, the coaches move on to broadcasting, be out, eventually come back, go back and forth. And I think that's something that Paul Weir's going to explore. Some guys need that fix immediately, like right when it's over, let's get back into it. It seems like Paul is going to be the guy that's able to step away and survey his options and see what's next.
And do whatever he wants to do. And he's got enough money, I would assume, where he can take some time and figure out what it is he wants to do. Mike, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Mike.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Mike.
Yeah, put up a couple of cents in on Lobo basketball.
Please.
All these coaches the big names, they're like all from the East. It's like, Ralph Martin and all these, Greg Marshall. Why can't we find somebody from the West? They're all these names. Why not, just to hire a coach just for a 1 year or 2 year contract, if it don't work out. But what's, like, I think, I don't know.
What do you like?
That interview yesterday by Michael Cooper just fired me up. Kenny Thomas, those two guys at the top of my list. Kenny Thomas, Michael Cooper. Okay. I know that They have their heart. Their heart is here. They have a connection to this area, to this place. Somebody, maybe not them, but somebody has a heart. Won't make this stepping stone like Alfred. Alfred said this is not a stepping stone.
Yeah.
And, Alfred said turquoise is an NBA thing. It's not an NBA thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Alfred was good. He's a good coach.
All right.
He turned out really good.
Yeah,
but,
no, Mike, that's good. A couple of things on this. Who do you like?
I'd like to hear what Brutus has to say about this, but
all right, Brutus, come on in. All right, Mike, I'm gonna jump in, and thanks for the call. A couple of things. You can't sign a guy to a 2-year contract. You can't, and have him go out and recruit a guy supposedly for 4 years and say, well, but coach, you're on a 2-year deal. I get it. You guys hate the buyouts. Everybody hates the buyouts. It's part of life. You don't hate the buyouts when somebody steals your coach and has to give you $1 million. You like that. That's just part of the deal, man. If you're gonna, we talk about market value all the time. Okay, that's just part of this deal. You can work on buyouts. You can tie them to different things, but that's it. Someone from the West, to his point, it's not ridiculous that there's a familiarity here. When Fran came here, Fran Fraschilla was a good coach. Fran came in really, really cocky with that East Coast attitude, recruited a bunch of guys from back east, and very few of them stuck. It didn't work in a lot of respects. So I'm hitting on the familiarity here. But bringing back someone from your past doesn't always work. It does sometimes. For every instance of Juwan Howard you've got, there's an instance that it just doesn't. So there's no exact formula on this. The one thing I'll give him is some familiarity with the region and the position, and I think is a plus.
And also, I get it, like the connection. Are you hiring Kenny Thomas and Mike Cooper because it's going to make you feel good, or because you actually think they can coach basketball? And that's my main conversation. If you can present it, if you can translate that passion into building a program, then it works. The thing with Danny Gonzalez is they didn't hire him just because he played at the University of New Mexico. Like, he was away from Rocky Long for a few years, proven coordinator in the Pac-12 and building his own brand, and it just happened that the timing worked out where you could cash in on that. You could bring back the alum who was able to build up his resume. And so in this instance, I'm listening, the names are on my list, but are you going to be able to present me a convincing argument other than the fact that you loved watching them play Lobo basketball, that they can build a good Lobo basketball team?
Yeah, I think that's right. Danny Gonzalez was one of the hot young coordinators in America when he got this job. That's why Oregon and Texas offered him a defensive coordinator job to buy him out and pay him a lot more money this year, right? Steve says we need a coach in the same mold as Birmingham and Gonzalez, someone who knows how to connect, motivate, and teach, and who is a gamer who can lead within the game, someone who does the same within the community. Alfred became that way. You got two pretty special guys in Ray Birmingham and Danny Gonzalez right now. Two guys who, have proven to be very good professionally and proven to be beyond very good in the community, right? Two guys who are from New Mexico, who have proven themselves. And Gene, he won a junior college championship. He's won conference championships. His program hasn't ever been that way. You got a guy in Danny who is one of the hottest young coordinators and became a head coach and is motivated. Can you find that guy? Who is that guy? A lot of people tell me that's Cody Toppert. I don't know if it is or not. Can it be Michael Cooper? Can it be? I don't know. I mean, to Steve's point, yeah. Would you love another guy like that, who's vocal, outward, New Mexico, rah, and can coach and can motivate and can recruit? Yeah. I mean, who is that guy? Because I think Eddie's probably looking for him.
And there's a lot of names. There's going to be a lot of options. I'm very interested, too, in the names that will pop up that we haven't heard about yet, that we haven't talked about. And it goes back to Eddie is connected in the basketball world. I think if you're a Lobo fan, you should be excited. You should be hopeful about the names that are going to come up for this job and what the future could look like.
505 246-0610, 888-922-0610. You can watch the show on our Facebook page, The OD in the AM. ProView Networks produces that for us. J. Pole and Alden are on that today. And, of course, you can watch it on their Facebook page or their YouTube channel. That's ProView Networks. And send us emails, Jeff@sportsanimalabq.com, JJ@sportsanimalabq.com.
Well, if you want to get excited about something else, maybe get excited about your fitness. It's going to make you feel better overall. And this last year has definitely been a drain on everyone. And some of the things we might have forgot about was just our personal health. When we're focused on, yes, staying safe, but are we healthy during this time? Let me tell you about F45 training. F45 training is a mix of circuit training and high-intensity training, and the 45 stands for 45 minutes. There's no wasted time. You don't walk in there, you're not overwhelmed just looking at a bunch of things like, I guess maybe I'll do some bicep curls, bench press, and go home. No, these classes are designed to maximize the 45 minutes, hit you from top to bottom, and make you feel great about yourself. Check them out at f45training.com. Also download the F45 app so you can take a look at the schedule of classes that they have here in Albuquerque at their Northeast Heights location. It's located at 5920 Holly Northeast, so it's Paseo I-25. Really good access from pretty much anywhere in town. Certified trainers to help you along the way. Like I said, you're not going to feel overwhelmed. You might be at first like, man, circuit training, high-intensity training, what is this all about? But it's set up for every fitness level. I love the monitors on the wall as well that keep you, all right, what station is next? What exercise are we doing? Bang, bang, bang. Once you try it out, you're going to love it. And just to make sure, you can sign up for a 7-day free trial, no strings attached. Look at the schedule, go on to the gym, check it out. And you need to download the app to book your classes because class size is important. They're monitoring it. It is still being done safely. Space yourselves out, wear your mask, and you're going to get yourself in a fantastic workout. So check them out, f45training.com or the F45 app. Team training, life-changing. I'll see you at F45.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. Portel.
The outside of running an out route.
Davis in on the play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. back to tossing his gun all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
We told you he
touchdown.
could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the wind at his back, but
that ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass. Wrap around pass.
Harris, Legate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A whole little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing
kind of Alden likes right in the camera lens, and it's just all teeth, lips, and burrito. Yeah, kind of like that. Aren't you supposed to be wearing a mask when you're at work there? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM. We're not Texas yet. Come on now. How about Texas opening up 100% next Wednesday? I was in Texas yesterday.
Yeah. How about when you're eating or drinking?
Yeah, I don't know. How about it? Yeah, how about it? Yeah, Texas was open. El Paso. I was in El Paso. Is that still Texas? Is that still considered Texas?
I think they consider it Texas.
Yeah.
The West Texas town of El Paso.
I will tell you, my El Paso experience and my Frisco experience were completely different worlds now. And while I never felt threatened in Frisco, and they, a lot of masks, El Paso, after what they went through this winter, and being the COVID hotspot of the world, or at least of this country, those people are very, very, very vigilant about their mask wearing, their cleansing, their COVID procedures in that town. Because, and I was talking to some people down there, but I don't think there's anybody down there who isn't 1 degree separated from someone who died with what they went through. And so they are, as much as Texas has opened up 100%, I don't know that it was greeted as well. The Houston mayor said we're still doing a mask mandate, and El Paso people, it's gonna take a minute for them, because, boy, that city was ravaged by COVID this winter. Oh.
And it's as we talk about moving forward, enjoying Lobo baseball being back. Hopefully high school athletics, it's doing things still safely so we get these events, keep adding, keep moving forward, doing the right things, and hopefully maybe a year from now we're having an entirely different conversation when it comes to what are you doing for a conference tournament, where are you going, etc.
Yeah. All right, let me get these in. You sent them, Jeff, at sportsanimalabq.com. This is from Bad Street. He said yesterday was an OD first, Jeff. The immovable object collided with the unstoppable force when the OD and the weekend OD met for the first time. Was that the first time? I don't believe I've worked with Fred or Van. I've been on their show, certainly unsolicited. It's not like they've ever asked me to come on. I called in once. I mean, they wouldn't ever reach out to slum it with someone like me. But had you ever worked with them before?
No, other than, just as you said, occasional show appearances. It was the first crossover hosting event in the history of your boys on Saturday and your boys during the week.
Did you say you're welcome? Did Van say you're welcome? You're welcome.
No. We talked about it during the break, but it never came up.
You're welcome. Yeah. All right. You're welcome. Bad Street says powerful call from Michael. Jeff, today he washed into the OD as Hurricane Michael. The thing about Norm Ellenberger is if you saw him at Ned's, he'd sit down and have a beer with you, and whoever else was buying, he had an ego. That's why he is loved in this community to this day. He acted like he was just another working stiff. I'm not sure that if the names mentioned can connect like that. It's Bad Street. Let me ask you this, because Bad Street, I'm just going to tell you, you can't be Norm Ellenberger anymore. You can't. So in the 70s and 80s, if you're the head coach of the Lobos and you're in Ned's or pick your bar, you can sit down with the common fan and have a beer. Mike Loxley used to do that. How'd that go over? Now somebody's going to have a cell phone out, and oh my goodness, the coach of the Lobos is having a drink, right? And social media, or how's he getting home, or they're going to follow you, and God forbid you roll a red light, or yeah, like it's a different world. Tell me, am I wrong?
Can
the coach
be enjoying your Diet Coke with your Albuquerque turkey sandwich?
Okay.
Things are different, yes.
It's just a different world. Like, give me that guy. Tell me that community where that guy's in. I was hearing the story yesterday about Don Haskins in El Paso, and he liked to go out and have a few on the town, and there's evidently some very well known stories of Don getting pulled over by the officer after a little drinking and driving, and the officer partner would drive him home in his car. Coach Haskins have a good night until one night one cop busted him, and that was, and the cop was the one who got beat up on that. It's different times. Gopher says, Omaha. Jeff, that caller made a great point. Why a 6-year contract? Why not a 4-year contract? This is Weir's 4th season, and I feel like he's had plenty of time to prove himself. JJ, I wouldn't be, okay, I'm listening at 4. You can't sign a coach, but no coach will sign for less than 4, right? I'm okay that it's not 6. If you want to tell me you're going to give a coach a 4-year contract, I'm down with that.
Yeah, and you said the business side, there's things that if you want to try to iron them out, well, then that's going to be on universities having to change things in negotiations, because you never get to the end of the contract. This isn't professional sports. Like you're recruiting, you're trying to build relationships. So you're never going to have a coach go into his last year of the contract and feel like your program's in a good spot. So what's going to happen? You're going to usually end up in these situations where if you're not extending a guy, you're ending it early, and then you're in buyout territory. And that's just where the business of the game has gone. Now, if you want to say 4 years should be enough, because we are kind of past that point of expecting a dude to come in and build a recruiting class, because it's a mix of both. We heard it from Jeffrey already today, expecting someone needs to come in here and get this going, like a year or two. So when you have that mindset out there, if you want to say 4 or 5 years is your contract because you're not thinking about the traditional timeline anymore, put that offer out there.
Yeah, it's interesting. If you win, let's say you're paying a guy here $700,000-800,000. You want to stretch it to $1 million, stretch it to $1 million. If you win, it's gonna pay for itself anyway, because your season ticket base is going to go up, and you're going to get NCAA or NIT money, and you're going to get postseason tournament exposure, and you're going to get more donations to the local club, and so if you win, it will pay for itself. Now, if you don't, it doesn't. But around here, I think it's been proven, if you win, look at attendance was up during Alford because you won, you enjoyed it, donations were up. Like this is, your generation, JJ, your age people, that was the glory day around here. I think back to the Bliss days and when the place was full for when they would play, West Texas A&M or Southwest Eastern Central Arkansas State, and they'd still get 18,000 in the place, right? The Kenny Thomas days, the Spider Smith days. I mean, that was when I first got here. That was one of the most amazing things about this place, was covering games in the pit, and it did not matter against whom they were playing. The place was full, and it was electric, and it dwindled. That was 20. I got it, man. It was 25 years ago. I realized I got some gray hair, but I think that's what guys like. Can that come back? I don't know any more than I think that your new coach can sit out and have a drink with whoever wants to buy him a drink in a bar. I mean, maybe those days are gone too, but there's got to be some semblance of something, and excitement, and I think if you win, people will come back.
I agree with that. This place, basketball matters, and if you're winning, I think there's a level that you just can't get back to, because things have changed. People have moved on. That today's environment is different, but I still think you're talking of 10,000+ people in that building, constantly a passion for Lobo basketball. That can happen, yes.
All right, Dan says, pay Danny. Returning Jeffrey, Juan Jose, and Micah John, Lobo fans tell me better Lobo football is the key to solving the budget problems. I disagree. Let's say Lobo football goes 6-6. What's the first thing I'm going to hear? We need to pay Danny. And he's going to want more cash for his staff. So even if you draw another 2,000 to 3,000 at University Stadium, it's not going to cover that extra $500,000 salary expense, let alone start making up the $15 million budget cap. So what's your alternative? Don't pay him and lose? I mean, help me. So 6-6 next year would be a great improvement, would it not? Bowl game.
That would be
6-6. It'd be fantastic, right? After where you've been. So would you? And then would you extend your coach? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd probably extend your coach and say he earned a little bump, right? You would say that. Your alternative was what? Just keep going through this every 3 years?
Your alternative is someone really wants and pays you some money on that buyout, and then you hire a new coach.
That's just how it. I don't know. You show me a business where you're keeping your best people and you're not paying them. I mean, show me one. Dan, whatever it is you do, if let's say you run a construction company and your best contractors, your best drywall guy, your best framer, guy down the street's paying him more money, are you keeping him? I don't know. I'm going to guess you're not. If you run an insurance company, the guy who's selling the most insurance, competition pays him more, you're probably losing him. Best radio or TV guy gets paid across the street, you're probably losing him. That's how it works. All right. Working on stuff tomorrow. Jerry Palm will be with us. Micah, how late we taking this thing? How late you want to go?
15 seconds.
Oh, 15 seconds?
Till
all right.
1 minute.
Till 1 minute. Okay.
We're just going to keep going.
I know.
Until the Lobos hire a new coach. We're just going to keep going.
1 minute.
We'll be live on air.
I just looked at the clock. I'm like, holy smokes.
I got it.
Yeah, no, I know you do. All right. Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowherd will be after that. Then you get the Sports Bar, Trulio and Carlisle. Don't forget, you got your game's tomorrow. Lobo basketball men over on News Radio KKOB, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tonight. Hunter and Robert will have the call. The Lobos of Colorado State. Great job on the TV side. There's Steve, and there's Jay Pole, and there's Alden. Micah, terrific work again. JJ, enjoy the day.
Have a day, y'all.
Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We will see you tomorrow.
Yeah, no, there's only like a minute 30 break.
Oh, I'm like, what the hell?
When youths operate off-highway vehicles on public lands, they must always wear an approved safety helmet and safety goggles.
Later.
Be supervised by...
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
Hand it off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
without replay.
Yeah, I
just
got
get
you.
the measurement. I mean,
Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. Dance into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. They're looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
They'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up, man's wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Siembieda. Dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out, a foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.